Hello. Can you see me? I think I went away. There we go. I was like, what is happening right now? Hello, all. Welcome to the channel. I don't know what's going on. I just have a headache all of a sudden. I'm gonna be doing my YSL weekly recap. A part of it is so that I can, I guess, get better at it, so that I can become better at streaming and going live and learning to work StreamYard because I'm not very good at it. But I do like the process. I want to kind of expand what I talk on because we may be expanding that soon. We may not. I don't know. There's been so much happening in the world of hip hop this last week. Another press conference on Diddy yesterday. All the news on Young Dirk, Lil Durk, I think. I don't really listen to a lot of his music anymore, but yeah, it's a lot. But I am a Young Thug fan, so that, in a sense, is a part of why I'm really interested in this trial. It's because I'm a fan of his music. I'm a fan of him as a person. And there was a lot that happened this week. There's a lot for us to kind of go over. I don't plan on being on here too long, but yeah, let's do the dang thing. Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, was the day that basically the motion for mistrial happened. Monday, I think they finished up with Detective Underwood, which was really interesting. Her cross, where she admitted that she was not an expert in lyrics when she was being questioned by Yak Gotti's lawyer, Jay. I can't think of his last name right now, but he's questioning her, and they're kind of going back and forth on what she thinks someone meant by what they said. And there's this point where he asks her if she finds out that the line 100 rounds in a Tahoe was actually said or written a year before the song ever came out, which was after Donovan Thomas passed away, could we then admit that they were potentially wrong? And she was like, yeah, that's fair, basically. I get so up in arms at the thought that we, a free nation with the First Amendment right, literally have the right to say whatever we want to say. You know how My mama used to tell me all the time, you don't always got to say what you're thinking. But we live in a country where it's okay to do that, where you can say, it's okay to say something that you're thinking, whether that be positive or negative or anything in between, where no one else has the right to tell you you can't say that. They don't have to agree with it. They don't have to like it. They don't have to listen to it. Um, but you still have the right to say that. Now, that's my rant about that. However, these artists, whether you consider it self-snitching or not, put things in their songs. The problem is, when was the song written? We don't know. So because we don't know, you can speculate all day long. But does that give you an all clear to convict someone? To try and convict them on something that they said when they said what they said, not knowing what they meant by what they said? And I'm not going to lie to you. Listening to how the people from Atlanta talk, their lingo, I am the first to say half time, I don't know what the heck they talk about. I do not. I don't know what they mean by what they say. I know it sounds good when you put those words to music. I will just say that. So why is it okay for other people to assume? Especially older people. I am not old, but I am older. And I have teenagers. I don't always know what the hell my teenagers is saying. I don't know what they mean. Sometimes I got to ask them to break stuff down for me, because it's not that I'm not aware of stuff. It's just like what I may have used the word for 10, 20 years ago is not what they nowadays use that same word for. That same word that meant something to me in early 2000s means something totally different now in their lingo. And so I just want to be making sure that I'm saying the right thing and that I'm not speaking and getting caught up. So there's that. So Detective Underwood admitted on the stand she has no clue what these lyrics mean. She was testifying to lyrics, qualified as a lyrical expert, but has no clue what any of these lyrics mean or what they're saying and how that pertains to a case. She didn't even realize that the person that was featured on the song with Young Thug Juice WRLD had passed away. She's like, oh, I don't think I know him because he's never committed a crime in Atlanta. That kind of in itself said that you go looking for words that match the crime and not necessarily the crimes given up in the words. You guys go find the music and try to make it stick where you want it to stick. Okay. So basically, she got cooked by Jay Apt. She got cooked by Steele, even Max Sharp. It was a very interesting cross, and she got down off the stand. You can tell in her body language, feeling a little bit unsure of herself. Then they go into the Little Rod situation. And there's a young lady there, which they were supposed to be calling her by her last name, but eventually they give up her entire name. I think the last name was like Smith, but we're not gonna say it just because we're not supposed to. So we're just gonna say Miss Smith. So she gets on the stand. Abate from the DA's office is questioning her. And she basically says she was friends with this girl. Her and the girl goes over these dudes' house. Essentially, they was hooking up, doing the deed. And then at some point, Bally or Blaylock goes downstairs. She goes to sleep. And then she randomly wakes up. Her homegirl's on the phone. And she gets upset. Or she doesn't get upset, but she walks out the house after the boy Bally attacks her, which I'm not going to keep spreading that narrative because that sounds like something that made up, but I don't know her truth, so I can't speak on it. But she walks out the house, and when she goes out the door, there's these dudes in a Mustang or in a sports car outside. I can't remember what kind of car it is. So they're out there. She's talked to him. One of the boys is BJ, another boy by the name of Jamari Holmes, and then there's another boy in the car. So they're all outside. Eventually, her and the other little girl get in the car. They're going to go get some weed from down the street or across the street, something like that. This little girl, Miss Smith, she ain't never been there before. She don't know where she going. She don't know whose is, but she goes. Whatever. You know, it sounds like some kids being dumb kids to me. Whatever. So she goes. They go to this house. The girl gets out the car. Her homegirl gets out the car. Her homegirl then comes back, tells her to get out the car. Somebody want to talk to her. She gets out the car, and then supposedly she sees Valley and Lil Rod run into the car shooting. Now, what's interesting is she then says she then gets in Little Rod's car, his mom's van, and then they go back to Valley's house. What it sounds like, and somehow she ends up in a basement, and there's this random phone in the basement, not her phone, random phone that she picks up and calls her mom. Now, a lot of people were like trying to dig because she called her mom and her grandma instead of the police. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't got into situations, and the first person I called was my mama and not the police. So I completely understand her thought process. I've done that myself. I've done that. Um, I I teach my kids that call the police, but call me too. So, because I'm coming, you know, she did it out of order, but I could see where she was coming from when she did what she did. She calls her mama, her grandma. She tells them she's trapped in some basement. They're supposedly in and out of this basement. The police is already at the mama's house, more than likely because the mama realized her daughter is missing and probably called the police. But she's saying homicide. Kids do everything on social media these days. That's why a lot of this mess is trial by social media. It's because everybody do everything on social media when people need to get the hell off of social media. But your brand is on social media. We live on social media. Hell, I'm on social media. So I get it. It makes sense. But I ain't out here trying to put in work either. So there's that. But so the police show up. Everybody else, I guess, takes off running. She goes with the police officers or whatever. She gets in there. She's in there with the police, and she's telling all kinds of stories. She got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different stories for the police. What happened, how it happened, who it happened with. Ain't none of it what the police want to hear. So then at some point, she starts saying something that the police are now interested in. Well, now this is where I'm going to switch to Miss D. Williams. Because according to Miss D. Williams, when she starts saying stuff that the police want to hear, it's because she's now telling the story that the police want her to tell, if that makes sense. So she came in with her 5, 6, 7, 8 stories of her own. Just the boy BJ was shooting. She was doing this. She was doing that. She wasn't here. She didn't see this. She didn't see that. And the police say, it's time for you to start singing your ass off, Miss Lady, or you're going to end up locked up like these little boys over here. They had already had a couple of boys. So then the police said, well, I don't think it's one shooter. I think it's 2 shooters. I think someone had a long gun and someone had a small gun. And then she said, okay, it was 2 shooters. One of them had a long gun and one of them had a short gun. The tall person had the long gun. The short person had the short gun. As if to say that Bally had the long gun and Rod had the short gun. She is the only person out of everybody that says there's 2 shooters. Now, they found some shell casings from, I guess, what could be identified as the long gun. However, whether or not those shell casings went with that shooting or not, I don't know. I don't know if it could potentially be another Intrevia Smith situation where stuff be going on in this apartment complex. Bullet casings could potentially already be there, but this situation so far happened, and now you mixing this with that to make it make sense. There's those type of situations. I mean, all over America, I'm sure If you went into certain neighborhoods for certain crimes, there's shell casings everywhere. And I'm sure that you don't get all the shell casings, or you may not even answer the call. But when you come for an unaliving or something like that, then you may find shell casings that may have been there for months and months or weeks. But it was really interesting to see Miss D. Williams up there doing cross. Like, this first time I really seen her like on her thing, like doing her thing. And she was questioning that woman down. But this is the kicker. And I don't know if anybody else thought question this. But the girl that was on the stand was not necessarily like super young. She wasn't super old. But Rob was like 15. But I think she was a little bit older than him. The girls were supposedly older than the boys. It happens, especially in our culture. It happens. And I'm not saying R as in Black culture. I'm saying R as like in this culture, even in my grandparents' culture. It happens. The girls can be younger than the guys. But I think it was a mess to begin with. And I mean, people using people to set other people up. So the argument was that Little Rob was upset that one of the boys stole his gun. And so he was going to show him. Whether or not that's the true story, I don't know. Because in the grand scheme of things, you have Hilton arguing. I want to say this was like day 88 or 89, something like that. Hilton argued before Judge Glanville that the whole reason why Thug ordered the hit on Donovan Thomas is because he wanted Rich Homie Quan to sign with Young Money so they can make music. And if he didn't do that, if he didn't sign with Young Money, then they weren't going to be able to make good music and make hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. That was their entire argument for why Donovan Thomas was unalived. Was that it was for the music. It was so that they could get Rich Homie Quan to sign with another label. Not buy him out of his contract. It was for that. So if you ask me, a lot of the state's theories are completely ridiculous. But they can make up whatever theory they want. They can make it make sense as much as they want. Because in all reality, sometimes we do stupid shit for stupid reasons. But the problem with the state's theories is, can you prove it? It does feel a little bit like double jeopardy when you already got Little Rod serving a life sentence for an unaliving, and then you turn around and you hit him with a RICO charge. He's only there for count 1, which is the RICO charge. But then because of that, you get to bring up all of this. You tell me where in this situation Young Thug is like, yeah, go get that dude for stealing your gun. Ugh. You tell me where Thug is like, yeah, I want these babies to be out here taking each other out. That's not what happened. That's not how it happened. No more than, every smoker in Jamaica can be blamed for Bob Marley saying free love, free smokes, free love. Or Willie Nelson or Snoop Dogg, drinking gin and juice and getting high. I mean, it just, you can't stack them up and try to make that make sense as much as you try. I mean, if that's the case, was Yin Yang Twins' fault for every stripper? That every adult person over the age of 18 decided to go to strip club? Or T-Pain because he's saying that he was in love with a stripper. So, I mean, if you're thinking to yourself, this makes absolutely no sense, you are absolutely right. And that is my point. It makes no sense. It's just words to a beat that people should be allowed to say. That is our constitutional right to say this. I mean, hell, if we, not to get political, but the election is happening right now. What is happening with the two candidates in the election? They are like dogging the hell out of each other. Whether they truly mean it or not, who's to say? But it's a tactic that is used to get you to vote one way or the other. It's not necessarily the end all be all. It's just a moment in time. Will these words be documented forever? Absolutely. No different than a rap song. But does that mean that one day they won't stand on the stage together and shake hands and say hello to each other? No. So we don't have to give that the everything that you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? My banner didn't even go up. I just now realized that. There we go. I just find that so I just find that just so awkward that we are just going to bottleneck this. You know what I'm saying? That we just get to bottleneck this, which seems a little bit unfair. So, anyways, so the young lady on the stand tells the DA, tells Lil Rod lawyer, yeah, I was lying. I was telling a lot of lies. I don't know how many lies I was telling. I don't know what was the truth, and I don't know what was the lie. I was just lying. I ain't never been in this situation before. This ain't never happened to me before, so I was doing a lot of lying. I really was. And they're like, okay, but keep going. She's telling you she's lying. She's telling you that she don't know what lie she told, that's a lie or the truth. She said on the stand that she adopted the officer's story. She said this. Yes, I adopted the officer's story. I started saying what he said because that's what I thought they wanted me to say. Okay. And yet and still, we still put this girl on the stand. It wasn't like she told the truth from the jump and then y'all was like, okay. And then y'all just had to take what she told you and go confirm it with the evidence. She started off lying to you. She kept lying to you. You then told her what the truth was. And then she started saying that truth that you started telling. And now you put her on the stand and expect her to remember everything that she was saying. You know, the truth never changes. I think Sharp says this. If it's the truth, it will not change. It will be that. It will be that. Like childbirth. That is the truth. It will never change. When you bought your first house, that was the truth. It will never change. When you bought your first car, the first time you ever get in an accident, the first time anything great happens to you, the first time you enter school, the first time something bad happened to you, your first job, the truth that you tell with those stories are the truth of it. And if it's the truth, you will forever remember it. And no matter how many times you tell that story, if you tell it 1,000 times, it will remain the same. But if it's a lie that you didn't put some extra oomph on, that will forever be the lie. And you won't be able to remember the lie, and you will keep adding to the story and taking away from the story because you don't remember the lie. What did Woody tell us? Woody told us this. He said, I can't tell you what I said. You got to tell me. You tell me what I said, and then I can tell you if I said it or not. Because I don't remember. Because I was lying. I was doing a lot of lying. I was taking a little bit of truth, mixing with a whole bunch of lies. It was a bunch of lying going on. And that's why I can't tell you the lie. That's why I can't confirm until you tell me what I said. You tell me what I said, and then I can say, yep, I said that. It was a lie, but I said it. Don't that seem like it's the theme? But you putting these people on the stand and saying, tell us what you said. Because it had to have been the truth because you said it. No. It was what got them out of their situations. It was what got them out of jail. It was what got them out of them Fulton County blues. It was what got them a plea agreement. So they said what you wanted to say. The biggest evidence of that is Muntu. He agreed to everything you wanted him to say in the moment because You made that shit up. You made them factual acknowledgments regardless of the fact that they was false. How can they be they were your facts. They weren't the facts. They were your facts. And when he got on that stand and said those was your facts and not the facts, you was like, oh yeah? Okay. What was Judge Whitaker's reasoning for revoking 5 years of Moon Tung's sentence? And I just got to say this. Judge Whitaker said that you got to take the legal system seriously. You have to take the justice system seriously. It is serious. And you have to show that when you don't take it seriously, there's a consequence for it. That's why she revoked his probation. When are the DAs going to start taking that same justice system serious? How many times do they get to say, oops, we didn't prep our witness. Oops, we didn't find this piece of evidence until just this weekend. Oops, we didn't turn this over to you 2 years ago because you demanded a speedy trial. So we went to trial half cocked. And instead of having half of these DAs out there sorting our evidence and going through shit, instead, we're going to have all 8 of them sitting in this damn courtroom and nobody actually working on it. And we're going to just keep throwing shit on there as we go. You know why? Because initially, and I'm sorry to cuss, but it just makes me so upset. So I will back off and watch my wording. But instead, it's because at the time they had a judge that was allowing it. At the time they had a judge that kept saying, yep, it's okay. Gemini rising, I don't disagree with you. If it's good for one, it's got to be good for the other. You can't say, oh, you can turn in this piece of evidence 2 years after the fact, even though you never turned it over in the discovery, but you found it now, you can turn it, and you know what, it'll be a while before we get to that witness, so you can just take your time to review it, and if you have any objections, we'll go over it later. The Sarah Boone trial is over. 6 days. 6 days they got to closing arguments. You know what, that's when you prepared, when you know your story. You didn't have to bring this as a RICO. You chose to bring it as a RICO because you wanted to throw all this mess in there together and say, you know what, we're going to throw so much evidence at the jury that they're going to be overwhelmed. And they're going to be like, this has to be true, because if it wasn't, look at all that they got. They got so much. It's so much evidence there. So it has to be right on some level, right? No. Just because you throw a bunch of crap in a bowl don't mean I gotta eat it. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to put seasoning salt on it and make it good. If you don't wash your greens, I'm not gonna eat them. You know what I'm saying? If you don't clean your oxtails and trim your fat, I'm not gonna eat it. If it looked like a mess, it's a mess. Have anybody seen that lady on TikTok? And this is not a dig, but it's a lady on TikTok, and she does these like little skits with her son, I think it is. And like she'll take hamburger meat fresh out the damn package and she'll just put it in the bowl and put it in the oven and squeeze some ketchup on it and call it meatloaf. No seasonings. She did one where she literally cooked oxtails, didn't trim them, didn't clean them, nothing. Took them out the package, put them in the pan, put them in the oven, and called it a day. That don't make it dinner because you cooked it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do something to it. You convince me you know what you're doing. And you get to say that people like Montung has to take the legal system seriously. What about the people that work in it every day? What about the people that gets paid by the government every week to take their job seriously? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if anybody watched the case with Ashley Merchant. She won her lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? She won her lawsuit. And Judge Krause, who was also the judge that ended up agreeing to the recusal of Glanville, one of the reasons why is she said that the records custodian at the DA's office, who works under Fonnie Willis, She gave him that job. She fought for him to have his salary. She said that he made no efforts to make sure that they got the documents that they requested. Essentially, he would go in there and just close out her request. He has the merchant rule. If there's anything that he looks at that says, I don't really think I know what this is, we're just going to say we don't have it. He'll go in there, close out the request. Finito. I'm not saying that there may not be merit to why the DA's office is doing what they're doing. There may be some reasoning in behind it, but you got a lot of the pot calling the kettle black. You got Fonnie Willis on the stand saying, you guys are getting too personal into my business because you asking about whether or not I had a relationship with the special prosecutor that I hired. Are you not doing the same thing here with the Young Thug trial? Are you not trying to manipulate these friendships to work for you? Was there not a reason why many of these plea deals happened in December while you guys were doing opening arguments? Because you needed so many people to say YSL is a gang. You needed so many people to say we use green emojis and slat and blat and snakes and call each other slime. I went to conferences last week and I heard the kids at the high school saying the same thing to each other. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, make this make sense for all of us. You know, I've listened to 6 months of just a theory. And every time they get a new witness on the stand, it kind of, they talk about something and go back to Donovan Thomas, or go back to Slat and Slime, or go back to Rock Crew. Like, you asking this young man, these boys don't know how nothing started. They was toddlers when Jeffrey Williams was out there playing basketball. They was babies. They don't know nothing. They got a story that somebody else told them, and they didn't put it together. If we ain't there when it happened, you don't know. It's no different than y'all putting together a story. You know what I'm saying? It's the same theory. It's the same exact thing. They still trying to figure out how these convictions gonna come in, because they can't cross Yak, Shannon, Rod. The defense can't cross them because they're not testifying. But all their convictions get to come in. And they're still trying to figure out how that's going to work. Still. You know, I've heard a lot of back and forth on what's happening now since court's been out. But let's give a little synopsis, and then we're going to watch the video. Half of what I've been seeing on different channels, from Paralegal to Seti Nash to Infamous Sylvia to Cat Not Williams, a lot of what I've been seeing in the comments, some people think Woonie Lee did it on purpose. I agree. I think it's double jeopardy, 100%, because you just say Rico and then you say, yep, all your other crimes come into play. I agree with you, Gemini Rising. Half the people think what Woonie Lee did was intentional. Some people think what he did was not intentional. It was a genuine slip up. I personally think it was a genuine slip up. I don't think it was intentional. Hi, Factual Lie. I truly do think it was unintentional. In part because it's clear he wasn't prepped. And outside of police officers, it doesn't seem like the DA's office preps anyone else. Like, they'll prep the police officers that are coming in to make sure that they can testify the way that they want them to testify. But I think the hope is kind of that these people slip up. Now, whether or not they want them to slip up and say something that could potentially cause a mistrial, I don't know. But I do think it's likely, because if nothing else, I think it's evident that they don't like Paige Whitaker as a judge. I think that they don't like the way that she doesn't let them just argue a point and then get in all the evidence that they want. She makes them use the law, Sometimes she does kind of help argue it for them when they're not right on point. So I think she go back and forth, and it does depend on her mood. But how many times has Glanville let some stuff in just on some okey doke? Well, judge, you know, and he's like, well, what they're trying to do is XYZ. And then he lets it in. Versus Paige has been like, prove it. Like she did it with the gentleman with the picture that they was trying to get in with that guy, and it was like, was it Antonio Slumman? I can't remember the gentleman's name right now. It's escaping me. But he says, chasing that money, but my past chasing me, or something to that effect. That's not a quote, but something to that effect. And the judge is like, how is that a crime? And, you know, Love is arguing. See, he's saying that he's probably doing something illegal, trying to get that money, and his past is chasing him. That was her argument. And the judge was like, what? How is that not what all of us do who aren't independently wealthy, who, you know, our parents don't just have billions and we can't just walk into the bank and just pull out, you know, a couple $100,000 to blow just because. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have that luxury. We all are chasing that money, and past deeds may be chasing us. Hell, my past chasing me right now. I'm trying to get my damn master's degree, or my degree at, you know, an older adult. Let's just say 30s, late 30s. Versus I should have did this crap years ago. But life and children and family and my hubby, you know, I love him to death. But, you know, I should have did this a long time ago. But I'm doing it now because I want to get it done. It's for me. It's not for no one else, for me, you know. But there was things that was going on at the time that I first started school that I couldn't. Life happened, and I had to make some decisions. You know what I'm saying? I had babies. My teenagers were little, and I had to sacrifice some things to make sure that they got what they needed. And I felt like this is something I could come back to. And I'm coming back to it 10 years later, but I'm coming back to it. You know, there's some that don't want to follow through. I'm trying to at least follow through. It's that same thing. It's the same thing. You are screaming, oh, he's committing crimes because he's chasing that money while his past chasing him. And the judge is like, that's not what I'm getting from that. And she's like, well, that should be argued before the jury. They can make that determination, not you. Well, the judge is like, well, this is exactly what I'm here for, to make that determination. And I'm saying, I'll decide. And I decided you could put the picture in, but we're not putting all that words, because that wording can mean anything. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. They put their extra icing on it to try to make it make sense. And before, I don't see Glanville saying no. I don't see him saying, you know what, that don't make no sense. I see him saying, you know what, yep, y'all can argue that in front of the jury, but all that's coming in. So am I, in my head, thinking that some of this from the DA right now may be a little intentional because they want to potentially be able to start over and get a new judge, and maybe even a different county to argue this, maybe one that's not so potentially compromised, because as of right now, there is not a person in Georgia that does not know this case, have not seen this case, unless you are literally hiding under a rock and got aluminum foil on the windows. You do not come out. You have no cellular devices, and you literally are hoarding in your house and no one else knows you're there. Because if they get a mistrial, they can potentially ask for this to be done in a different county in front of a judge that may be more partial to them. You know what I'm saying? So do I think it may be a little bit of that type of manipulation going on? Absolutely. I would need a lawyer to tell me, because I am not, to be like, yes, but this is my own random regular person opinion, just watching, looking, and listening. You can tell how prepped the attorneys, the police officers are. And usually when they get knocked off of their game from the story they're supposed to tell, it's on cross. They spitting it out on direct. They spitting it. Doop, 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 doop. Yep, it happened because of this. This is who said it. This is who done it. This is why, blah, 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 blah. They spitting it out. But when they get hit with them random questions, or they get a bunch of objections to the way the DA is asking the question, and they have to keep rearranging how they're asking it, sometimes they get a little flustered, and that's what kind of knocks them off. When the defense come up for cross, that's when they get a little flustered, and it kind of knocks them off their game. But otherwise, they come in very prepared about what to say, how to say it, who to say was there. We all chasing it, Felicia. I'm chasing it 7 days a week. I swear to you, I am exhausted. I be chasing it. I got a bunch of homework to do right now. I ain't digging, but I will do because I'm still chasing the bag. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yes, I personally think Woonie Lee is the individual because outside of him, Thug don't know Rod. Thug still don't know Rod. But Woonie Lee is someone who grew up around Rod and Blaylock and Eppinger and them. That is how they're trying to tie Thug to these youngins. It's through Woonie Lee. Even though Thug only dealt with Woonie Lee because of the music, not because of anything else. So it's not like these little dudes was like come to the studio with Thug. They may have came to the studio with Woonie Lee. And you know what I'm saying? Thug on some what's up. But if I'm a 30-year-old man, I'm not kicking it with no with no freaking 15-year-olds. I'm just not. I'm not doing that. And you on something totally different than what I'm a grown man. It's not gonna happen. I'm a grown woman. I'm not gonna be hanging out with a bunch of 13, 14, 15-year-old girls. Other than to mentor and tutor them, which I have done like modeling classes and had like, and done some teaching in a sense and counseling in a sense of that. Outside of that, no, I'm not. My younger nieces and nephews, yeah, just because I'm giving them a different type of perspective, letting them know that this can happen. I grew up at the start of the social media era, and I see where it's going. And say my bosses got caught up on telephones when telephones became popular and they tapped that. Everybody else, it's this social media stuff. It's when you get into some crap and throw your phone, you're basically telling the police, you can have that. They don't need your passcode to crack it no more. They have specialists who can crack your codes on the Apple iPhone, on your Samsung. I'm a Samsung girl. I'm an Android. I don't know how to work an iPhone. But so for me, I'd be lost. But they have specialists that can crack that. So when you get into some crap and you toss your phone out the damn window thinking it's gonna crack and nobody's gonna be able to get into it, you are wrong. Keep your phone on you. Keep your phone on you, because then they got to get a warrant to get through it. They can't just you tossing it gives them permission to get in your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff happens. People get caught up. Life happens to people. We are not judge, jury, and executioner. And I'm pretty sure every single one of us has had someone in our family get caught up in some mess. And not necessarily knowing the ins and outs of what's happened, or even being in a situation in the moment that we could talk up to them, because if they get arrested or something like that, we can't talk to them in that moment. But maybe in a moment, not understanding what's happening, you just know, well, they're my family member. I love them. It couldn't have been what they're trying to say it is. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe there arises a time later on where you can sit down with that person and you say, well, what happened? And I mean, at that point in time, you probably already got 3 or 4 different stories of what's happened. But when you sit down with the individuals involved and you're like, tell me what happened, and they're talking to you and they're telling you, then you're kind of like, oh, wow. Okay. You can make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? I think they were trying to use Woonie Lee to tie the youngins to Thug. The first time he messed up is when he said, oh, well, he don't know Shannon now because he's in jail, right? Nobody said, Your Honor, can we have a moment? Can we take our client? Can we let him talk to his attorney so his attorney can advise him? We need you to not talk about jail. Anybody in jail. Nobody in jail. None of that. This is my thing. no matter how many times Hilton say, Your Honor, we couldn't fathom that would happen. We would have never assumed that he would have said what he said. How? And we're about to watch it. We're going to watch the clip. You went up to the bench with Westmoreland and other attorneys, and she said she was going to have a problem with the physical copy of what you had. You guys argued this before lunch. You argued about this photo. Sharp stood up and y'all argued about this photo before lunch because it was a photo that Shannon was tagged in. It wasn't even Woonie Lee's photo, but because Woonie Lee commented on this photo, you wanted to use him to get the photo in. That's how you wanted to use it, to get it in. You didn't have to use the photo at all. You didn't have to. That's one. Two, when she asked for it to be redacted, you redacted it on the computerized copy that you was going to show to the jury. Why didn't you do that on the physical copies? Why do we have physical copies that don't comply with the redactions? Why? Why? Next, why not just take a marker and just mark through it, scribble through it? When you was looking at it and you seen that part wasn't, you knew it wasn't redacted because you handed it to him. And when you handed it to him, I said, oh, no, give me a minute. And went and took a pen and did, with your pen real quick and scribbled through that. Why not? It's not like you said after he got through reading it. Does it say anything else? Any more hashtags? And he said, he finished that, oh, something BB. And he's like, okay. But this is what makes me think you were looking at an unredacted copy too. Because after he said that, you say, well, is there any more hashtags? And he said, free Quay. You said, no, is there any more hashtags? He said, free Quay. You said, I mean, on the screen. That's how she tried to fix it. That's how she tried to fix it. Because she was looking at an unredacted copy too. So when he stopped at that something BB, she seen there was another hashtag that said free Quay. It wasn't no more hashtags outside of that. And she kept asking him about the hashtags because they too were looking at unredacted copies. That was your problem. And yes, she may have been shocked, surprised, taken aback, confused, in awe, whatever adjective you want to use to describe her reaction. But it doesn't change the fact that at some point in time, these DAs got to take the legal system seriously. To quote Judge Whitaker, at some point in time, they got to take their oath seriously. Why is it Moonton get 5 years for saying that the factual acknowledgments that I agreed to on December 28th or to December 27th were true to them, but not the truth in real life? But they get to say, well, I keep messing up, but judge, forgive us. It's only their lives. It's only their lives. It's only their lives. It's only 20 and 30 years of their lives, if that. It's only life without parole, if that. You know, you have to continue to allow us the next year to try these men. Because it's only their lives. No big deal. No big deal. The DA has unlimited resources. No big deal. We could keep doing this. Even though they'll run out of money. They'll have grandkids by the time we're done. No worries. It's just their lives. You know, I know people were up in arms about her saying, we don't want to waste the last 10 to 12 months. I get what she was saying as a juror. I've done jury duty before. But that is a drop in the hat compared to the sentences that you are trying to give these men. That is a drop in a bucket. It's not a short period of time. Yes, absolutely. She admitted the unredacted picture into evidence factual lie, and she had a copy of it herself. There's no reason why, if on the screen there's no more hashtags, but she keeps asking him about hashtags, and unless she too was looking at an unredacted copy, and that's why she kept asking. And it didn't click for her probably until she heard everybody's reaction when he said free Quay. Then she was like, no, any more hashtags? She was like, free Quay. And then everybody else, because if you ever listen to Mel, I'm not a lawyer, but she said family members were like, like, oh my God, like what? Miss Sylvia, I don't know if you guys watched her channel, but she actually has in courtroom footage afterwards. I'll see if I can bring it up because I am subscribed to her channel. And shout out to her for being there and doing what she do, because she has live footage of the way the DA was reacting. Like, and I think Love's reaction was most telling. She was PO'd. Like, what in the actual F? You don't get to keep having your cake and eat it too. You don't get to keep playing with these people and saying that, well, we're just doing our job, no matter how bad of a job it is. Like, I get it. We all got rough days. When I go to work, some days I'm not like feeling it, and I may slip up. I may forget things. You know what I'm saying? But goodness gracious, Lord have mercy. It's not like you just trying to give these men 2 and 3 year sentences. You are trying to sentence them to life. You are trying to give them 30 years. You are trying to give them life sentences. Shouldn't we be a little bit more on the ball with what we're doing? And they think they're winning. Love, for certain, think that, she'd be quick to be like, let's keep this thing rolling. Defense thinks they're winning. We're looking at it from regular people. We do feel like the defense is winning, like the state ain't winning their case, but we don't know what that jury is thinking. We don't know how they feeling. And Miss Sylvia used to kind of tell us how they was reacting. She can't do that no more because of the whole mess that happened there. But hi guys. This mess it's so much deeper than what we think it is. And you can't tell me. I will never stop thinking about this, especially because she's like, her reasoning for not doing a mistrial with prejudice was because Hilton was like, is that an ugly face? Because I hope it was. Hilton, she was in awe that he said that. And because she responded like that, that wasn't enough to declare a mistrial with prejudice. But maybe a mistrial without prejudice. At what point do you tell the DA to start taking what they're doing seriously? And to stop with the BS? You know what I'm saying? Didn't you see my shocked factual eyes when I shocked? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is not an excuse. That is not an excuse. But since I have the clip, let's play the clip. I don't know what happened to my wireless mouse. My little tootie booty took it and was playing with it. Her name is True. She's almost 2, and she likes to drive me. I keep looking for it like it's just going to pop up, but I got me a little wireless mouse that she think is hers, and yeah, I need it back. But let's go here so we can pull up this Winnie Lee part. There we go. I do have it on 1.5. I may even speed it up and skip a little bit. Actually, I think I am going to speed it up a little bit.
WUNIE, last name Lee.
And good afternoon. How old are you?
25.
And are you employed?
Yes.
What do you do for work?
Music.
And when you say you do music, what do you mean?
I make music.
What type of music do you make?
Hip hop. Hip hop.
Do you
Hold on.
You came to the studio with me a couple times. That's it. We never hung out outside of the studio.
When did you start seeing him around the studio? About, if we're in 2024, how long ago was that?
Mhm.
I don't know. I can't remember the exact date.
And do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
trying
If
to
you
go.
just identify him by article of clothing he's wearing.
You said identify what?
Identify him by article of clothing he's wearing.
He next to the lawyer with the brown. I think he got on brown too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I wanted to skip ahead. I thought I already did that, but I didn't. But only because two things. Look, she's actually taking them all up there.
31 NN, 31 NNA, 30 NN, 30 NNA, 32 NN, 32 NNA, 33 NN, 33 NNA.
She goes through them
34 NN,
individually.
34 NNA,
It's not like she hands them a stack. It's individually.
and 35 NNA. Are these items that we went over?
It's
today?
individually. And she goes, oh, she says they
Yeah, you
went
showed
over
that.
them.
Okay. And were those
Why didn't
items associated
you
with your
attack
Instagram
me?
account, slimelife.shawty?
Yeah, from what these papers
Ah.
say.
Okay. And
So
you got this time say right to 10 Thursday, with 30 NN to 35 NNA, 30 NN and 30 NNA through 35 NN and 35 NNA.
So frustrating. So frustrating.
Your Honor, may I approach briefly?
You may.
Demna Rising, I agree with you, girl. I am so annoyed with the mess. You know what I'm saying? I'm so annoyed with the mess. If you want to truly see how the people in that DA's office truly feel like they are above the law, just go watch. I'm telling you, just go watch the hearing with Ashley Merchant and Dexter Bond. Go watch that hearing. It's from like a month ago, and then turn around and go watch last week's hearing for the sentences. The lawyer that comes up and speaks on behalf of Fonnie Willis literally says they're just doing this for media attention. They're just doing it for media attention, not that they really have a case. It is crazy that they feel like they are not accountable. They say the DA's office cannot be sued. So we can do whatever we want to you, but you can't take legal action against us for that. That was so beyond me. How is that okay? Fonnie Willis said she went and sat down with Donovan Thomas's mother and promised her that she was going to get a conviction. You didn't even know who you was going to be able to convict. Why would you promise that woman anything? It's not that that family don't deserve justice, but they deserve the right kind of justice. The real person deserves to be in jail. You're trying to make whole Thug accountable for something that he wasn't even there for. Y'all ain't show not one time him getting out of a car and getting back in the car that night that happened so he could see the shooting. That's what you say. He wanted to witness it. You ain't been able to show him witnessing nothing. Somebody said he got out of one car into the other, so that's the theory y'all still working with. He wasn't even there. He was at the studio. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Okay, I'm just gonna skip to right here.
October of 2020, or was this photo taken at a different time?
I don't know when it was taken. I just see when they posted.
All right.
This was his
And earlier we talked about
music.
Instagram pages. Is this Mr. Stillwell's Instagram page?
I think
Slime
so.
Life Yard Shorty song.
And
This
can
was
you
his
read for
song.
Joy what the caption says?
Fuck the other side. Put them on TV about
Hold
my
on.
dogs.
You got to slow down because the court reporter is taking it down.
It's an overt act,
Go ahead and read it.
but
just
it's a
so you know what
song.
it is.
Fuck the other side. Put them on TVs about my dogs. Soldier Reed, Bloody T, Glock with Bean about my dog. Cause a scene about my dog. I'm going too fast.
Yes. Go ahead. Slow it down. I know
Where
you're
you
going to
want me
rap
to
it, but slow it down.
Where you want me to start it?
You can start from the beginning.
Say it again. F the other side. Put them on TVs about my dogs. Soldier Reeds, Bloody T's, Glocks with beams about my dogs. Clear the scene about my dog. If he F with them, you can't F with me. No, he is not my dog. That's it.
No, keep going. Keep reading the rest of it.
The rest of it is not my song.
Oh my God.
Okay, so the first portion is your song.
Yes.
All right. But why don't you read the rest of the post up for me?
Even if our position ever come down to being back to back, that's just how we're gonna rock out against whoever with you.
All right. And are there some hashtags?
No slime left behind.
All right. And is that an emoji next to that hashtag?
It looked like a crazy emoji. I never seen that.
Alicia,
Okay.
it's
What's
a
the next
mess.
hashtag?
Two
Oh, it's
B's.
a mess.
Do you know what that signifies?
Big business.
All right. And what else does the rest of it say?
Many more blessings and riches, I say.
And
Mess.
is someone tagged?
I don't know who that is. Oh, there's somebody who made some clothes.
All right.
Real feel. I don't know who that is.
Okay. And what else does the rest of the post say for the record?
Thank you for this exclusive ass hat and for this crazy ass one of none hoodie.
And then someone else tagged.
Somebody named Marilyn is totally responsible.
Okay. And when was this post posted?
2020.
All right. Now the verse that you quoted, your verse, what song is that from?
Dang, I forgot about it.
This is my
I don't even
YSL.
remember.
book.
I really don't.
One of two.
I think is it What Love at?
And was that a song that came out before 2020 or in 2020?
It probably came out in 2020
And in looking at this picture, do you know where you and Mr. Stillwell were when you took
at
it?
the studio.
And do you have a particular studio that you used to go to?
No,
Okay. Where was the studio located?
I can't remember by heart, but it looked like Geez, I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I remember.
All right, that's fine. Of course, it does one more.
Words in a song are an overt act.
Ms. Westmoreland.
We should all go. Well, it take me some time because I got to book the ticket, but go to Atlanta and go outside
What
court.
does No Slime Left Behind mean?
Should have got them apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur.
I think that's just what it means.
See if that
No
can be an
Slime Left
overt
Behind.
act. And furtherance of nothing.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 37 and admitted. Excuse
Oh,
me.
that was my mixtape name. That's why he put the hashtag. He was supporting my mixtape.
Your mixtape was No Slime Left Behind.
Yes.
What made you name your mixtape No Slime Left Behind?
Like the No Child Left Behind thing. That's in school.
Okay.
I just named it that. No Slime Left Behind.
And when you were talking about slime, who were you referencing anyone particular?
People?
No, not nobody in particular. No.
He
I just
should
wanted to
name
be
it.
different. I just named it that.
No puppies left behind.
We're going to publish 37 and N.
No cats left behind. No behinds left behind.
Who is in 37 and N?
OG Boo. OG Boo.
And who is that?
Shannon.
All right. And can you read for the jury the caption?
Read his caption.
Yes.
I do too, girl. Sons out here be like, "I got them apples."
Said, ain't nothing more compatible than a trench. A carbon white in the trenches.
Let's look at that.
And then is there a hashtag?
Hashtag no slime left behind. Hashtag 2Bs. Life size.
And is there another hashtag?
Free Quay.
It's gonna be in
Is
my
there
head
another
all day.
hashtag on the screen?
Oh no.
Your Honor,
It's in this paper
Your
right here.
Honor,
You got me reading.
Your Honor, I have to make a motion.
All right, I'm going to excuse
I
you.
wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking at this paper.
That's fine, don't worry about it.
Ugh.
Can I ask you to step outside for just a minute? And jury, I'll excuse you all for just a minute. Mr. Lee, can you step outside for a minute for me, please? Thank you.
I'm sorry, factual lie. That is my song, girl. That is,
Possible mistrial looms over this rapper Young Thug's RICO case.
let me
Maybe you saw them. This case had people protesting in front of the Fulton County Courthouse this morning.
They say they're not.
it's the point is I do love that song. Every time I go somewhere I hear it. Like if you just thinking you just gonna have a drink and chill and that song come on, you're going to the dance floor. That's my point. So years and years and years ago, I used to work in an adult club, right? And there's this one song that came on. It was a Tyga song. with Young Thug. It was the Pass Me the Hookah song, right? I am not kidding you. Every time that song came on in the club, everybody would run to the stage or around the stage, no matter who was on the stage, and start dancing, myself included. It was just like one of those, songs that was for everybody. And that song by Flo Rida is the same thing. It does the same thing, In my mom's generation, I guess it was like the song that made them all do the electric slide, is some songs like It's Electric or something like that. She said every time that song came on, they run to the dance floor. But regardless, this is my question to you. How can someone saying, after you ask them, do you recognize this person, and this person? What you call them? I call them Quay. What you call them? I call them Thug. What you call them? I call them Shannon. Da 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 da. Then, can you read the hashtag? You heard her? She asked several times to read the hashtag. That's what makes me think she was looking at an unredacted version too, because she kept asking them. It was not on the screen. He had already read what was on the screen. She had to have been looking at something unredacted to keep asking him to read something that was essentially not on the screen. So she couldn't have been looking at a screen. There was nothing else left to read on the screen. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. So she had to have been looking at the unredacted version also. And that's why she kept asking him to read it. How can it be that him saying free Quay is so innocent? Judge Whitaker says what? You can equate it to, people says that about Hollywood stars, free them. And that just means get them out these relationships. But 100 rounds out of Tahoe ain't innocent? Him saying 100 rounds out of Tahoe ain't innocent because somebody shot at a Tahoe? Is that the only Tahoe in the entire city of Georgia that's ever gotten shot at? Can every officer in every county go through all of their case files in the state of Georgia, even within the city of Atlanta, even within the county of Fulton, and see if there's any other Tahoes that's ever gotten shot at? And maybe if there actually was one that got 100 rounds in it. Why is it when Dennis says, Yak Gotti took this picture standing on top of YFN Lucci's car right after he got out of prison? It was 5 weeks after he got out of prison, but right after he got out of prison. That's an accident. Why is it this is an accident? He referred to somebody being in jail twice in that day. His testimony was all of 46 minutes. But within that 46 minutes, twice he referred to someone sitting in that courtroom being in jail. So I took some screenshots. I didn't send them to my Gmail. They're actually on my phone of, oh boy, Slime Life Shorty. Because after he essentially got sent home from today, he then started posting stuff on his, I think it was on his like Snap, or no, on his Instagram. And if I was thinking, I really should have damn it. If I was thinking, I really should have attached scene. I'm still learning StreamYard, y'all. So I don't know how a lot of stuff works. I need to get like some lessons in StreamYard. But I took a picture of some stuff that he had posted on his Instagram. And one of them was, I don't know if you can see that. So this is one of his, oh, it's like blurring out. Sorry, I got the blur on my background. So it's like blurring it. But he says, Ain't have to tell on nobody, duck nigga. Every N-word that didn't like me only happy because that belt been off that behind. I can add both you duck N-words and make y'all remember. You niggas belong to Get Low Records because that's all y'all ever did. I can merch it. I'm chilling though. I love you all. I don't know what that means. But I will try to see if I can like somehow send this to my email and maybe attach it to this video or something. Like maybe I can do that. Let me try to share it and then I'll email myself now while I'm thinking about it so I don't forget. If not, I'm gonna have to have my hubby do it because he's decent at this type of stuff. I'm not. Pick. To there. But basically, people was calling him out online afterwards, like, you know, you almost calls the mistrial dummy and da-da-da-da-da. And he was responding to people. He's still on trial. You still... Posted... Rice Street posted a Lincoln Cats chat. Jeff had the same car. What kind of car? Factual lie, what kind of car? I understand that some of these people understand like the severity of it, which is why, of course, Tick and DK went up there and did say, they were like, well, it's YSL game. They're like, yeah. They named people that had passed on. They named themselves. This little boy is 25 years old. First, I guess, real big time he's ever been in trouble. They're telling him, like, he has an Alford plea that essentially he only has to be on probation for, like, I think 5 years. And after 3 years, they'll basically seal it to the public. I mean, the DA and the police can access it, but to you or I, we can't go access his information. Oh, yes. Thug has a car just like that. Wow. Interesting. Now, I'm not going to cap with you. I follow both of them on Instagram. So kind of when they were doing a lot of their back and forth, I was very familiar with what was happening. And not only that, my hubby is in the hip hop world. So he pays attention. I mean, he used to rap back in the day. So he pays attention to a lot of stuff. And he'll be like, yo, babe, did you see such and such? And either I'll be like, yeah, I did. And we'll have a discussion about it. Or I'll be like, no, I didn't. And we'll still have a discussion about it. So I remember some of all of that goings on. Of course, you know, we didn't know all of this was going to end up being happening. But it ain't like it's, even in that, it ain't like that's the end all be all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it that these rappers are millionaires, some of them. And I also get that some of them have a street credit to uphold. If you want to be honest, I think 50 Cent is one of the most outspoken about it. Like, he's a rapper. He's a business owner, several businesses. But how many dudes you think they ran up on him? Problem or not? How many dudes you think they ran up on him? I mean, you talk about Game inserting himself in beef with Young Thug and Lil Wayne. I mean, Game at the same time had beef with 50 Cent, but wasn't trying to insert himself back in that beef. You know what I'm saying? So, like, some of it gets deep, some of it not so much. It is what it is. But I think it's something to be said about the fact that these young men from the ghettos and the hoods have found an avenue to turn their pain, struggle, and hurt into money. They've now been able to take what they go through, what they've been through in its rawest form, put ink to pad, use those struggles to make millions of dollars, to sell out tours. And there's something to be said how all of that is now coming back on all of them. Felicia, you took the words right out of my mouth. It is the year of exposure. It absolutely is. We want to act as if it didn't happen. I mean, I think right now what's happening with Thug and everybody else, I think this is a complete travesty within itself because it's not built on truth. It's built on what they can make up. However, years and years ago, I think it kind of started with the Epstein. And then it went to Trump. And then the Diddy situation happened. And then the Abercrombie situation has now happened. And then when it comes to music, it's, Diddy in the music, Thug in the music, what is the other one? Boosie in the music, and Dirk in the music. They all have dealings with each other, but it doesn't mean that they're not individuals, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not saying anybody's okay, and I'm not even trying to lump them together. What I'm saying is that they all have a craft, and they all have been able to use their craft, their God-given talent, to make them money. Now, those that have guilt or are guilty, that will be one thing. But let's talk just Thug. That was just like a side note, but let's just talk Thug. This man has no felonies. He's in his 30s and has no felonies. Born and raised in Atlanta. That in itself is rare. It's rare. It's not unheard of, but it's rare. A black man in Atlanta, no felonies? What? And he a hip hop artist? What? That's crazy work. You take this a man who decided that he wanted to go bond out people in jail who was just stuck in there for the holidays. His way of giving back. I got it. Let me do something for you. Instead of doing a turkey drive or a coat drive or backpacks for back to school, which everybody do that. He like, let me put mamas and daddies back with their babies. Let me do that. That's going to be better than going and buying backpacks and coats. Let me try to put families back together. And now that's coming back on him. This man got the money to bond people out of jail. This man got the money to influence people. Let me try to see if I can get some of that for my party, for what I want over here. I mean, I understand that our world works on manipulation, and I'm going to scratch your back if you scratch mine. I get that. But somebody somewhere said this man can't say no. You can't tell us no. What you have on him is you have someone having a gun in his house. Not necessarily him, but someone in a room where they were sleeping at. Okay. You have drugs in his house or in his possession. When he got pulled over, I think there was they said some lean in the car. And then there's a time he got pulled over going to the airport where he had, they said he had some like Xanax in a cup holder, but then someone else said that it was in the middle console, but the body cam footage of the officer who found it just disappeared in a hack. All the stuff that they got from the hack, but it disappeared in the hack. All the other body cam footage and crap they got, but that disappeared in the hack. Okay. Some, Mary Jane. but we're going to say distribution because he knows some people that maybe sell work. You know, when you get to a certain level, you don't just go down the block and go get a baggie of this, a baggie of that. You know, if you got the money to spend, why not buy in bulk? I mean, not for nothing, but Diddy did it with the baby oil. He didn't want to keep going to Costco. So he said, you know what? Let's just get a shipment of 1,000 bottles and bring it to the house. So now, because he didn't have just a little bit pinch here and a little pinch there, instead, he like, you know, I'm going to just get it by the poundage and I just grab some when I want it. You know, that's him distributing versus using it for personal consumption over a period of time. Because he could just be using it for his own personal consumption over a period of time. You know what I mean? Like, this is, again, trying to make the story fit the crime or what you consider to be the crime versus you have the crime telling the story. You know what I'm saying? The crime isn't telling the story. People telling the story and trying to make it make sense. And because of that, you want to convict. Now, what I did want to do is I did want to absolutely and unequivocally just pull up the argument about the mistrial motion because Westmoreland, oh, her sister came out. She said, before we get to talking about curative instructions, what we're going to do first is we're going to need you to rule on my mistrial motion. And after you rule on that, we can discuss whether or not we'll accept that whether or not that curative instruction will work. Now, while I'm getting that together, I do want to touch on something I didn't talk about that happened earlier in the day when Detective Hogan, I think it was, came to the stand to talk about the Lil Rod situation. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think if Little Rod had the attorneys that he has now, when he was when he first got convicted, he may have not got convicted because his attorneys was riding for him. You know what I mean? Like they was all the way, keep it all the way funky with you. They was 100% with the mess. You know what I'm saying? They was giving him the business. A body was like, so what, was you too busy? Like she was catching that detective up. You know what I'm saying? Like she was catching him up. Like, so basically you went to the scene. Somebody else took pictures of the scene, directed all the gathering of evidence. They said that they found these bullets by a bush in an air conditioning unit, which there was none. Then not only that, even when you were interviewing this young girl, you were getting the story or telling her the story. But even when she was telling you, you wasn't going back and checking with the other people that you had in custody to figure out if that was right or wrong. You were just basically going with that story and using that story to write up your report. You got one person saying 2 shooters, but then you have 2 other people saying 1 shooter. Not for nothing. I mean, we see it on TV all the time, and I don't even want to minimize. No way am I trying to minimize what happened. But is it possible that maybe the person even in the car accidentally? Is it possible? Did you even look into that? Because the girl said initially the only person she saw shooting was BJ, the guy that was in the car with the victim. He was in the driver's seat. And then supposedly 2 dudes come running from across the way. But initially she said 1 dude came running from across the way. Is it possible? Like, I feel like when something happens, you have to explore all avenues. You know what I'm saying? Explore all avenues. I've been in a traumatizing situation like that before and questioned if I saw what I really saw or if I saw something different. If I heard what I really heard, if I heard something different. Like, question people that were with me, like, did you see that the way that I saw that? And even their angle was different. And they were like, well, I saw this, but I didn't see that. You know what I mean? Do you know how traumatizing it is to watch someone like lose their life in front of you? It is traumatizing. It takes a lot out of you. It is unbelievable to real life see. You know what I'm saying? And there's so much that's going on with you, in your head, around you. The chaos, the running, the people talking, the people screaming. You know what I'm saying? Like, if something were to happen right now, let's say we're all at the park and there's a car accident that happened on the main street. Let's just say it's Kennedy Street, you know, that runs. We're at the park here. Kennedy Street runs right here. And we're all at the park playing. And we're all facing the street when it happens. And there's 10 people there. You know what I'm saying? When that car accident happened, I guarantee if you ask all 10 people is going to say something different. This car was speeding, looks like it was speeding. This car looked like it was turning. This car was stopped. This, you know, everybody's going to have a different story. Even if there was somebody that wasn't actually facing the car wreck, but then turned around after they heard the yelling, they still going to have a story to tell about what they didn't see. I mean, you got whole people. I say that in the loosest way, but you got a whole person that said that he was sitting at a park bench when Donovan Thomas got killed, and then Sprinkle watched the videotape and he was never even there. You had him sitting down with a detective, the one they call Squirrel Brain, giving him a whole situation, telling him a whole story. And the detective didn't even realize that the name he gave him wasn't even a real name. It wasn't even a real person, y'all. You had Woody sitting in an interview room with 2 detectives talking about Lil Mike and Quez. And they was people he made up on the spot. And then later, Hilton questioned Woody on Lil Mike and Quez. If y'all go back and watch Sharks Cross to that and look at Hilton's reaction when Max Shark says Lil D and Quez don't exist, Hilton literally go like the way she reacted to that was amazing. She was like, baby girl, you had fit questions into your direct centered around Lil Mike and Quez. And they weren't even real people. At least Detective Hogan was honest and just said, you know, I don't know. I didn't do that. I didn't look into that. I didn't ask them that. Nope, I didn't go over there. Nope, I ain't pay no attention to that. Because once that girl started talking the way I wanted her to talk, that's when I started paying attention. What did he say? He said, I wasn't listening to nothing she said before because I felt like she was lying. But then once she started saying what I thought she should be saying, then I started listening and writing. I started writing in. Yeah, it makes sense then. I was like, yep, that makes sense. And then what was his oomph that he had on redirect? Miss Abassi doesn't know much about weapons. That's why she kept calling it a long gun. Your counterparts in the DA's office are the ones that keep telling the witnesses to refer to them as long guns and not choppers or, whatever. They're the ones that keep saying long guns, big guns, black guns. You know what I'm saying? So that ain't the defense. And Miss Abassi doesn't have to know a lot about guns to know how to defend her client. That's all she needs to know is how to defend her client. And that is what she's doing. Her job is to let you know that she's on your ass. You know what I'm saying? That you did shoddy work. You got it off initially, but it may come back to bite you. Now, with that being said, if they can keep the RICO charge off, then those individuals who have the individual crimes, there may be a chance that they can go back and then appeal those convictions like Little Rod's, because there may be a lot more to that story than what we have. You know what I'm saying? So that's the job. And she's doing her job. She's doing her job better than it was done the first time around by whomever did it then. Her and Misty Williams. And it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see public defenders out there doing the work. You know what I'm saying? And taking it seriously. But anyways, I'm going to play this little clip about the mistrial motion because I was kind of annoyed that it's just not being viewed as serious. It took you no time at all, even with some of the charges that they read off of Muktunk that wasn't actual his charges. I think they were read wrong. There was one on there that looking at his list of charges was for sure read wrong. But you tell him he has to take the law seriously, but your DAs ain't. And I say ain't as in that word that's in the Hood Dictionary. Ain't. They ain't. Not that they aren't. They ain't taking it seriously at all. And that's not okay. Because, again, these are people's lives that we are essentially saying, it's fine. No worries. I need to take these comments off. Oh, it's muted still. Hold on.
So we join in that motion, Your Honor.
Your Honor, and I just want to briefly add that it is painfully obvious that the state is not prepping their witnesses. You can tell by the way when the witness spoke the first time and he said, oops, am I not supposed to say that? Like, oh, I had no idea, which means it obvious that the state had not spoke to him, had not prepped him. And this is happening repeatedly. It's happening over and over again, Your Honor, and we're just not going to be able to unring 100 bells.
And finally, Your Honor, Mr. Marquavius Huey, we all have, it's been established that that his nickname is Gway.
Okay, isn't there going to be, I mean, we talked today about, isn't there going to be a stipulation that references to Quay, at least at some points, are not either Mr. Nichols or Mr. Huey? I mean, we did.
Yes, sure. And that's a few things. So one, Your Honor, it was not intentional because we clearly.
Okay, but it was sloppy because I presume he's reading from the document that you handed him instead of reading from the screen.
And we should have instructed him to read from the screen. But
or you should have presented him with a document that had that part redacted. It's just sloppy.
The issue came while he was on the stand, Your Honor. So the issue did not come prior to. Ms. Westmoreland walked up to me while he was on the stand and said, "I'm going to have an issue with that. Can you redact it?" That is when the state became aware.
That it should have occurred to you. You know what? I'm handing him a hard copy of this document that is unredacted.
But not if there's multiple Quays, Your Honor. If I don't know which Quay that.
Hang on. Can we stop having people come in and out when I've asked the witness to step out and every time the door opens, they can hear what we're talking about? Please, just for a few seconds. I'm not asking anybody who's in here to leave. Huh?
She said the DA is in charge of the witness. They supposed to take her back to the witness room, not us. Nobody.
And so that is The point in which
That's
we
for
learned of it is we redacted it on here. Ms. Westmoreland brought it up here.
Yeah,
when
and
I
you
came
didn't read it. I mean, so
but
the
I
jury
said-
didn't see it, but now the jury has heard it. I don't think it is really that, much of a crisis, because there is going to be this stipulation that Quay is not always either of these defendants. So, nor is it obvious to everybody that free whomever is such a quote about who knows, everything these
That's
days.
so
And so
frustrating.
it doesn't necessarily indicate that whomever Quay is, Quay spent time in jail or in custody or in prison or anything. I mean, they say it about Hollywood stars who are in a breakup. It's not so obviously, oh, this must mean this person was in prison. But also, we were already saying Quay isn't either of these people. So let's just, and whether this was one of these people or I don't even know who it did refer to.
And we don't know because it's not his post. He was reading someone else's post. So it could be a multitude of ways.
You talked to his attorney
Yes.
earlier, right?
Yes.
And did you get any kind of an indication? I don't know if this
It
was
wasn't
one
an
of the
issue
things you
ear-
were going to, but it's an issue now. And you said before lunch that you were going to ask Mr. Rubin.
Yes, we did ask.
Do you know at this point whether the free Quay reference, this wasn't even his post, was it?
It wasn't. And it wasn't an issue. So when I talked to Mr. Rubin at lunchtime, this wasn't something I was going to address with him because it wasn't I did not realize it was an issue. Mr. Rubin found out for me that Slack Quay is not either of these two Quays.
Okay, but this isn't Slack Quay. This is just Quay.
Right.
I know. So why doesn't everybody, well, they don't know how it's spelled. They only heard it. Why doesn't everybody just enter into some sort of a stipulation that the free Quay or the reference to Quay just now isn't either of these people?
I don't know if it is. So it was.
Whether it, okay, so,
Your Honor, the state can enter stipulation that we weren't referencing any. We as the state of Georgia.
okay, that is not a reference to, if you would prefer that.
I don't know what the poster is referencing.
I don't honestly really care what the poster was referencing. What I'm trying to do is fix your sloppiness so that everybody won't have wasted, 10, 12 months of their lives in this trial.
Yeah, we can come up with it.
Okay, do it now.
She said, do it now.
Y'all work on that. I'm going to take 5 minutes.
Skipped right here. Don't she just look so frustrated right there, guys? She looks so frustrated. She's just like, but I think what's interesting is she didn't expect Westmoreland to say, yep, to the regular mistrial. The mistrial without prejudice. She wasn't expecting a yes.
What have y'all come up with? All right.
Wait, hold on, Matthews. Before you say we have a stipulation, F, Judge, once you rule on our mistrial,
Right.
on my motion for mistrial.
Okay, so are you asking, what kind of a mistrial are you asking for?
Your Honor, I believe that we were goaded into the mistrial.
I believe you were too,
Okay, well,
girl.
I do not believe that, because if you had seen Ms. Hilton's
Oh,
face
for
when
sure.
that came out of the witness's mouth, she was appalled. And I do not believe that they are purposefully trying to insert error into this trial to make y'all ask for a mistrial so that they can try this case again. I
Yes,
think
they
it
are.
is continued, and I am sorry,
Yes, they are.
y'all have, this gigantic, ginormous universe of evidence that maybe if you narrowed down, you would not be making these kinds of mistakes. But I believe that to be a mistake.
Your Honor,
So I'm going to
I
deny
don't think it was a
a
mistake.
motion for a mistrial with prejudice. That one, I don't believe that the facts bear out. Would you like a mistrial without prejudice?
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
You would?
Look at the
Who else would?
look, Miss
That means,
Percival's
of
face
course,
is
that
like,
the state would be free to try every one of y'all again.
Just a moment.
Sure.
I will see if I can go back to it. Hold on. Let's look at Miss Percival's face. Hold on. I want to catch it right on it. Let's see here.
Have, this gigantic, ginormous universe of evidence that maybe if you narrowed down, you would not be making these kinds of mistakes. But I believe that to be a mistake.
Your Honor,
So I'm going to deny a motion for a mistrial with prejudice. That one, I don't believe that the facts bear out. Would you like a mistrial without prejudice?
yes.
You would? Who else would?
Hold on.
That means, of
I can't
course,
get
that
it.
the state would be free to try every one of y'all again.
Hold on. Let's try it again. I just want to get
That the state would be free to try every one of y'all again.
no. It's not,
Just a moment.
it's
Sure.
like right at 13. Let's go.
Came out of the witness's mouth. She was appalled. And I do not believe that they are purposefully trying to insert error into this trial to make y'all ask for a mistrial so that they can try this case again. I think it is continued. And I am sorry, y'all have, this gigantic, ginormous universe of evidence that maybe if you narrowed down, you would not be making these kinds of mistakes. But I believe that to be a mistake.
Your Honor,
So I'm going to deny a motion for a mistrial with prejudice. That one, I don't believe that the facts bear out. Would you like a mistrial without prejudice?
yes.
You would? Who else would?
Look. Okay. I got it. Hold on. Right there. It's not great. It's really not great because the law and crime stamp is right over her face. But she looks at the DA like, uh-oh. Like, I know I kept, yes. Okay, you're right. I need to go back to it and slow it down. I need to take it off of 175, put it back on normal. See, I told you I'm like all over the place. I'm just now learning the stuff. Girl. No, I want to keep my subtitles on. Let's go playback speed. Let's go 0.75. Okay. Here. And then let me go back. I know it's right around 113. Let's go here. All right. I want to try to really get this space.
Gigantic, ginormous
No!
universe of evidence that maybe if you narrowed down, you would not be
Oh, my
making these
Jesus.
kinds of mistakes. But I believe that to be a mistake.
Let's just go.
Your
That's
Honor,
crazy. I'm sorry.
So
It
I'm
sounds
going
crazy
to
when you say that.
deny a motion for a mistrial with prejudice. That one, I don't believe that the facts bear out. Would you like a mistrial without prejudice?
yes.
You would? Who else would?
There we go. There we go. All right. Thank you for telling me to slow it down. You were so right. Factual lie. You got it. Look at that facial expression. Let's just sit on it for a minute. Jesus. That is her. She is looking dead at the DA. Like, uh-huh. Uh-huh. On the bus. Been around that track. Cause I ain't no holler back, y'all. Ain't no holler back, y'all. I really don't know how the song go, but you know what I mean. Yes, that's literally that facial expression is like a beat drop for that song right there. Fergie, get into it. Yes, she was cheesing like, but let's be for real. Bruce Harvey has been trying to sever his client since this thing started. For real, for real. He has been trying to get Cormarvius Nichols off this case since it started. I mean, the Harvey rule is the Harvey rule, whether Bruce Harvey is on the case or not. But he has been trying to get his client off this case. I don't know if he did it or not. I don't know. But he might have. He might have been able to get his client off this case. I'm interested to see what we're going to come back to on Monday. I ain't gonna lie to y'all know how y'all feel, but like I was just looking for something to do on Thursday and Friday. It was like I was hunting for something to do. I was like, what is on? I mean, even the mess with Dirk that came out yesterday, I like clicked on it and clicked off and went on with my business. I was just like, okay, because it's different. I mean, I don't know. It kind of hits different when you see that. First of all, that's the FBI, so that's different. The FBI ain't coming unless they got some ducks in a row. But secondly, like, I feel like I'm so invested in this right now. I'm so invested in the fact that these people's lives and their livelihoods have just been, and their rights have just been trampled all over. And the state just gets to keep saying, well, we deserve to prove our case, regardless if we got a case to prove or not. We deserve to prove our case. And that facial expression right there says it all. Like, oops. You know? And this is the kicker for me. The feds didn't want to pick up this case. They could have. They would have had jurisdiction and would have if the substance was there. This case is built off of social media and us and police officers trying to interpret social media posts. It is built off of lies that people who were arrested basically said to spin a narrative that was in their favor, and it's based off of police officers assuming what social media and songs meant. So it's taking someone like Young Thug, one of the most complicated rappers in the world. It's almost like trying to dissect Twister. If anybody is a little older, you've ever heard the rapper Twister, he's in the Guinness Book of World Records for being one of the fastest rappers alive. I mean, like speed wise, what he's saying and how he says it is like his playback speed being on 3.0 all the time. And I don't even know if that exists in real life, but that's how fast he raps. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like saying that and trying to take that and then slow down what he's saying and break down what he's saying and see if you can understand it. Young Thug just mixed stuff together. He will talk about tacos and then smoking and getting some sloppy toppy and then going on tour and then watching TV and then taking a bath and put all that mess together and make it sound good. And we be singing it, not even knowing what the hell we just said. But that's what we was talking about, if you want to break it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't try to rap his verse on Pass Me the Hookah. I don't even know what I was saying. But I know it sounded good, and I turned the radio all the way up when I was driving home and bumping it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what he's saying when he's rapping lifestyle, but I know I turn my music all the way up and I be dancing to it. You know what I'm saying? It's no different. You know? It's like, you guys know that she's that girl off of Love and Hip Hop. What's her name? Mariah, the white girl. She's off the New York one. And she was there when Cardi B first came on. And she got that little catchy song. Once upon a time, not long ago, I was a hoe. And I'm admitting that I don't, what did she say? I don't something because I did this shit. I ain't a hoe. But the song is catchy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's catchy. And I'm sure kids sing it, whether it's true or false. I remember one time being a kid and I was on the bus and I was like, there was a song that came out with Mariah Carey, DeBrat, and Missy Elliott. And I'm just in my zone singing it. And I think it was Heartbreaker, the remix. And I was singing Missy Elliott's part. And it's this part to go, he used to lay me on my back, take that. And I'm like just singing the song in the zone, singing. It's on the radio. And I remember my brother busting me on the side of the head, like, what is you singing? And I'm like, a song. And he's like, nah, don't be singing that out loud. Like, you don't got these little dudes over here listening to you and thinking that you're going to be with that type of you know what I mean? And I was like, dude, it's a song. Like, get out your feelings. And he's like, nah, for real though. You know what I mean? Like, I know we try to we try to add 2 plus 2 and make it make 6, but it'll still only be 4. You can assume how someone else is interpreting what you're saying, but unless they ask you for clarity and you clarify, you don't know. And Max Sharp is the one who really drove that point home when he questioned Detective Underwood. And he said, who taught the class? Were they a professor? When was it? And she said she gave a lot of stumbling, bumbling answers, but she essentially ended up saying Detective Viverito, Investigator Viverito. She taught them at the DA's office. So another witness on this case, another investigator that y'all sit around with and shoot the bull with and basically try to dissect what other people mean by what they say. Did you ever go to another Atlanta artist and say, well, I heard this. What does this mean? So-and-so said this. What does this mean? Did you ever make an appointment maybe at the record label and say, hey, could you bring in some of your songwriters? Because we have some lyrics, we have them printed out, and we want to know if they can help us figure out what this means. An expert on writing lyrics, an expert on maybe analysis or analogies, a professor that a psychologist or anyone that can maybe break this down and tell us what this is supposed to mean versus my own interpretation. Yes, it's art, but art is in the what did they say? Art is in the eyes of the beholder. So I can interpret your art how I want to. And if I decide your art is a crime, then because my job is as a police investigator is to arrest crimes. If I decide that your art is a crime, then I can arrest you for it. So, okay. Say for instance, I decide I want to go get a canvas, right? And I go get this great big canvas, life-size canvas, right? And then I go buy a bunch of paint. And I decide that, I want to make some art. Let's just say I do 2, okay? The first one I do, I squeeze the paint on the canvas, and in my house, I take off my clothes and I rub my body all over this canvas and I make a picture. And it's so gorgeous. And I hang it up on my wall. Nobody knows how I made it, but they know I made it, right? It's gorgeous. And people say, oh my God, that's so beautiful. What is that? Like, it may be only me that knows this is that body part and this is that body part and this is that body part or whatever, but they get to interpret that how they want to. Just follow my analogy. I know it's a little out there. I take my second canvas and that same art that I created, the same way that I created it in my house, I then go to the park with a bunch of kids. And I do the same thing I did at home, but I do it outside in the park, right? I'm still creating art. It still is up into interpretation. But now I'm out here for the masses to interpret. And there happens to be a parent outside with their kid. And they decide that this ain't the way you create art. And they call 911 and say, we got this naked woman out here rolling around on a canvas. Come get her. I may have thought it was art, but the way I went about it was a crime, right? That makes sense. That makes sense. But you don't actually have Young Thug rapping about 100 rounds in a Tahoe. And then y'all happen to see him standing on a curb shooting 100 rounds into a Tahoe. And then rapping about it. What you have is him talking about it. And at some point in time, there's someone who got shot at while standing in front of a Tahoe. But there were several people that got shot at. What you have is Young Thug having a friendship and a business relationship with this individual. However, someone that he is affiliated with having a not so good friendship with this individual. What you have is them saying that his song that has a line about 100 shots in a Tahoe is so akin to the Donovan Thomas unaliving. But then what we also have is a video, an entire music video done by two individuals that had a beef with an artist that Donovan Thomas was affiliated with, right? And you have those two said individuals making a music video with the large, heavy-set black man, bald head, goatee, in a chair, tied up, being threatened, and essentially unalived, with a lot of favoring characteristics to the person who actually lost his life. But that means nothing to them. For people, for detectives, for police officers to say that we drew this analysis, this analogy, and we drew this conclusion based on 100 rounds in a Tahoe. That's what, 4 words? 100 rounds in a Tahoe, 5 words. But you got a 4-minute video of them putting money on this man's head, for them unaliving him and putting the towel over his face, the likeness of the actors with the crime. But no one came to the conclusion that that fiction versus nonfiction could potentially have something to do with anything. They wanted to make it make sense the way they wanted to make it make sense. And I was so happy that Sharp brought that out. Because if we just following the crime and then the songs just happen to appear and it can become evidence, why was that never evidence? Why was that never a part of the crime? Because Woody had nothing to give. And in the meantime, he has maybe changed his life, done a 180. He's trying to live, a wholesome, God-fearing life. And I respect and commend him for that. We all have demons in our closet. We all have things that we ask for forgiveness for, but they still weigh heavy on our heart. I'm not saying he did or didn't. What I'm saying is the likeness can be shared by more than just Young Thug. Y'all can't put Yak's phone there. Y'all can't put Shannon's phone there. Hell, y'all can't even put there. Y'all can only put Yak at the gas station. You trying to say people can't use any gas station in the city that they live because a crime may occur within 5 or 10 minutes of them being there? But y'all trying to make him a part of that crime. But nobody is questioning Woody about the video that he made, even though in the transcript of the ex parte, he said that the defense has a video of me unaliving Donovan Thomas. He didn't say they have a video of me rapping about something that I've done. He said they had a video of me doing XYZ. And they read into that what they wanted to read into that. And they left that statement where it was as soon as it came out of his mouth because it didn't fit their theory of events. Instead, what they told him is, we don't know that. We don't know that you did that. We have these other people charged with doing that. And we don't really care if you did or didn't. But if you get on this stand and say that you did, we're going to arrest you for perjury. Not because it's not true, but because it's not our version of the truth. They didn't even care if it was true or not. That's what's crazy. They did not care if it was true or not. They cared is because it didn't support their theory of the truth. So they were unwilling to let that happen. I think that speaks volumes to the case as a whole. They get to keep saying, oh, we just keep adding witnesses back and we throw in evidence, and we re-release all these tranches of evidence to them. No order, no understanding. We just keep releasing all this information to them, and we've released all this information to them. So if we decide to go in our bag and it's unorganized and we throw something out there, then it's their job to go look through this terabyte of evidence that we gave over to them digitally and find where we put it, which is sloppy. But that's not enough to get the case, dismissed with prejudice. We got detectives on the stand inserting their own everyday opinion, talking trash about the defense attorneys, calling them horrible, talking sarcastically to them, telling them basically, I ain't gonna answer your questions and you can't make me. But that's not enough to get the case dismissed with the prejudice. We got the DA's office sneakily trying to get evidence out. It was no different than what Love did with Quindarius Zachary when she asked him how close he was with Shannon and Yak and Thug and Montunk. And then 10 minutes later asked him, well, when they came and picked you up, and then Max Shar asked, who is they? And she said, huh? And the judge says, so is it the vagueness? And Max Shar said, yeah, it's vagueness. Let's clear up who the they are. Let's say who the they are. And she said, no, Judge, I want to keep asking him what I'm asking him. And when I'm done, he can clear it up on cross. And the judge is like, no, define who the they are. Because, the story is, and what he got convicted of being with Montoon. That's it. And Demekion Garlington. But now it's Demekion Garlington, Montoon, and now you adding Shannon in there. And so that's what she did. And then, of course, they go on break and they have this whole argument about it. And she's like, that wasn't sneaky, though. That wasn't enough for a dismissal with prejudice. And then we got the sneaky, that's okay, factual lie. Okay, so then we got the situation that happens with Love and the phone number. And Adam says, all these comments are hearsay because every other picture that they posted, they got to get rid of the comments, right? But Love's like, no, it's not hearsay. I'm not using it for the truth of the matter asserted. I just want him to talk about the picture and who this is in the picture. And this is just me theorizing because I couldn't think of any other reason to say she need to get the picture in, but not the comments, but then ask about the comments. So they do that. And then they let in the picture. And she overrules the hearsay objection. And then Love says, well, what did this Instagram post make you want to do? And he was like, well, I was looking for a number for Justin Cobb, and there was a number. So I said, they're like, hold up, wait, hearsay. And she's like, no, Judge, I'm going to ask him some more questions. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to ask some more questions. What other questions can you ask about a phone number that's in a comment that will take away from the phone number that's in the comment? So Adams is like, I have a motion. The judge even says, and most of us know this statement by heart now, you seem to hide the ball for as long as you can, and is what she said, you seem to hide the ball as much as you can for as long as you can. She basically told her, I know that you are being sneaky. I know that you are finding roundabout ways to try to get your evidence in. And I'm tired of it. There was a reason why after the blow-ups that week that Love kind of took a back seat and a body came in. They needed to calm the wrath of the judge before a mistrial really got asked for and received. In Love's hands, Judge Whitaker may be a lot more willing to call a mistrial than maybe a body in Hilton's. Yes, absolutely, Felicia. It was crazy. And I think the judge was so close to calling it in that moment. She really was. But she didn't want to call it with prejudice. And the boy that they're referring to in that picture, I think is one of the ones that's still like missing. They haven't found him yet, or at least they haven't announced that they found him yet. Supposedly he's still not in custody. And it's been like 2 years. It's so much sneakiness going on. I think the you know why you don't. This is why I think the DA wants a mistrial. This is 100% uncut, honest truth with you. I think because the judge has ruled out quite a bit of evidence that they wanted to use. The judge has ruled against it. I think the unindicted overt acts, the things that happened inside of the jail that they then decided that they wanted to use against the defendants, that she ruled out, including the situation with Little Rod and the situation with Shannon, and then the passing of the pill in the courtroom. She's ruled all of that out, including the situation with the Little Rod, with the stuff that they found on him in the back, because they said there wasn't no name on it. You don't know that came from YSL, that they were counting on. And the main thing, the main reason is because Detective Dennis cannot come back to testify. If they get a new judge, if they get a new trial, everything starts over. That means Detective Dennis can come back. That means he can give his opinions again. That means he can give his expertise again. That was a major loss for them. That was a huge loss for them. They want Detective Dennis back. They need Detective Dennis back. Oh, my camera went away. Sorry, guys. They need Detective Dennis back. They want him back. If that hadn't happened, I would say, okay, yeah, they was just being sloppy. Yeah, they was just being stupid. But since they lost Detective Dennis, and that happened a week ago. I think a week ago, Thursday. There's been, 4 or 5 mistrial motions? It was one on that day. It was one the day that Steele did cross on Underwood. There almost was one when she started talking about the search warrant that she served. She was like, "Well, I know where you live when I served the search warrant. Can I talk about that?" And you seen Steele just get quiet and just look, because he's like, "Yeah, go start talking, girl. Go start talking." Because had she started talking about that mistrial motion probably would have went through, but she backed off. If you was looking at the DA table, they was like, "Don't go there." There was one after the testimony of Miss Smith, I think, because the 2 little boys that was also in the car was supposed to come testify, but then they basically told the DA's office and a body that they don't got nothing to say to nobody. But the DA investigator that does kind of what Sprinkle does had introduced their evidence, but they couldn't cross them on the evidence because they wasn't coming to trial no more. And the DA didn't tell them that until the next day. And so that was grounds for a mistrial, because that was confrontation. They introduced all these evidence about these boys, and then these boys didn't come to testify. But instead of just like tripping with it, they were just like, you know what, let's just keep moving. We'll just keep pushing on. It is what it is at this point. But that was another mistrial motion. So that puts us at 3. And then they had what happened? Then the Wooney Lee. So I think that was 4 mistrial motions in less than a week and that's what, 3 days of testimony. Since they lost Dennis. So I think the state would absolutely be open to a mistrial, because then they get to bring Dennis back. They get to bring him back into the trial. They get to then have him go before the judge again. They may get a whole new judge that will then let the evidence that they want in, that, may not be as law-centered as Paige Whitaker seems to be, that may not seem to be is not up for love's BS as Whitaker is. I think the first 2, maybe 3 weeks after Whitaker got on the stand, Love was arguing her down. Even Hilton arguing her down, just like they was doing with Judge Glanville. Because if you keep arguing, you keep talking, you wear him down, and he'll finally rule in your favor, right? He won't necessarily shut you up. He'll just keep letting you talk. It wasn't like consistent, but it was sporadic when they was having these arguments. But it didn't take long for them to learn, in comparison to the 6-7 months that they had spent with Judge Glanville, where these things worked. But it didn't take them long for them to figure out, when Whitaker said no, she said no. When Whitaker said no, she meant no. Move on. Find something else. And that goes for both the defense and the DA. Yeah, it is a never-ending case, Felicia. And if they get the mistrial without prejudice, they may be able to get before another judge. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but that is what I feel like is looming. I do think Harvey wants Nichols off of this case because of the charges that he have. I don't know if they can really prove what they think they can prove. And Harvey is kind of like, I know I can get my client a good deal if he can get off this case. So I'm down for whatever. So he may just be trying to get his client off. I don't see the DA giving Quarmavius Nichols any type of plea agreement that doesn't consent to him saying YSL is a gang and coming right back in here and testifying. If Harvey can work it out where he don't have to say at least that much, but coming back and testifying, we'll see what them factual acknowledgments agree to. Especially if he can get them off with time served. But I don't know. But I do know he's been wanting his client severed. And I mean, this may be his opportunity to do it. But I do know he has the RICO charge, and then he does have an unaliving charge on there as well. The Shamal Drinks one, with Shannon Stillwell. I don't know what his other charges are though, but I do know it's those two. Ava, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Every time you hear the judge say, I need to go take a break. And there's twice that she said, I need to take some time. That time that she like spazzed out on Love for real. And then last week, girl, in my heart of hearts, I think she back there on the phone like, this is some BS. How am I supposed to keep this thing going? How am I supposed to keep this thing going with all of the slip ups and the mess ups and the BS that is happening? What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I got to get voted back in. This got me looking crazy. This got me looking so crazy right now. Because I think this trial is a reflection of the judges that are sitting up there. Like, at some point, you got to be like, you got to be willing to go against the masses and just be like, this is not I don't even know if this is political or not, but somebody has to be saying, we've spent so much money on this trial. We got to get it into the jury's hands. However long this thing's going to take, we got to try to speed it up and some shortcuts where we can, but we got to get this into the jury's hands. We cannot get a mistrial with prejudice. But considering the fact that they average at least 2 mistrial motions a week is what the DA is averaging, been averaging for a while. I'm just like, how we gonna get it to the jurors' hands? Because they got to know. I know they got to know something. I mean, people was down there protesting on Friday. It was beautiful to see. I wish I didn't live in the Midwest because I surely would go down there and speak my piece, But one time for the one time, if I start working for myself, I can do most stuff. But through prayer and God and you guys, that will happen. But if you are there in that space and you can't, I wish there was something that we could do online that would be like, that would be similar to like a protest, but online. You know what I'm saying? I think we try to put as much as we know out there. I don't agree with the channels that have spurred up and all they pass is negative information, and they'll have like the videos of Thug's face on with a shirt with like a bright green shirt, and they'll say, he got caught up in the jail and da 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 da, because that's just passing the negative information and keeping the negative stuff spooling. I really, really wish that it was just more, just positive things and us just really out there trying to spread awareness. Because if it can happen to them, if it can happen to someone like as well known as Young Thug with the finances that he does have, you think it's not happening to you? It can't happen to you or I? You think it can't happen to our family members? Where they can just hold them in jail for 5 or 6 years and just say, you know what, you're going to stay here until you sign this plea deal that I want you to sign and be on probation for the next 30 years? Like, all of that is within their hands. They have the ability to do that. And even someone like Young Thug, who hasn't been to work in 2 years, who hasn't been able to like consistently put out music, who hasn't been able to consistently tour, he only has so much funds before he has to start like selling stuff that he has to keep paying his attorney's fees. They know this. They know this. They can apply for more funding from the government. I mean, the government, of course, will determine how much they get, but they can apply for more funding to try. They have people sitting in jail that haven't been tried. They have all of those kits that haven't been ran because they've been trying this case. Because they was counting on their 2 big RICOs, the Young Thug RICO and their election interference RICO. This one is going badly for them, and that other one is on hold. I mean, I don't live in that county, so I don't get to see or know. But I do see the news articles and the news tubes about, basically a jail that's falling apart and another one that they're trying to build. I've seen the news tube about the officers that they had basically brought in under contract, and then they weren't paying the contractor. So the contractor said, you know what, we're going to get all our people back. And then the county says, no, stay with us. We're going to pay you. We're not going to pay your contractor, but we'll put you on payroll and we'll pay you. Because you got to live, right? So don't quit. Don't do what they said and quit. Stay here. And then they had some female officers that, was doing whatever they was doing for whatever reason they was trying to do it. And they were investigating them, looked into them, had them, of course, telling on each other because, just it is what it is. If I get in trouble for some stuff and I know you doing something similar, if I can knock some time off of my time, but instead of getting an attorney to make sure that's what I'm going to do, I'm going to sing for the hills and then hope that you help out. Because if nothing else, we haven't learned that from this trial, And I hope anybody listening, if you do ever end up in some trouble, do not sing for the hills first and hope for a better day. Get you a lawyer, and then with your attorney, sing for the hills after negotiating your better day. But they got all those female officers arrested for bringing like chicken pot pies in there and doing favors and da 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 da. Who did they talk about? The one officer who, I guess she has something like $17,000 that she had collected. They only talk about like the 12 or 1,500 that supposedly Marquavius Huey's mama gave and sister gave. That's the only that's the only thing they mentioned. Nobody else. Just him. It wasn't even 10% of what she had got. But that's the only person that you bring up, is the fact that there was some monies that was tied to a member in the YSL trial. So we're gonna bring that up. Ooh, the other 15,000, it doesn't matter, because it didn't tie into this other thing. We got to show you this other stuff. Like, it get really, really real when people try to make it, it's just like a person on the street telling you a story. When it happened, they was 10 feet away. When it went down in the club and everybody was scrapping, they was feet away. They didn't even really see who was all fighting, but they was listening to pieces of the story from everybody. And so when they go back and they tell their story, they're going to tell it like they was right there in the midst of it. Like they was in the trenches, juggling, like they was rumbling, bubbling with everybody else. Like, yeah, and I got pushed and my drink got spilt on me. And then so I had to hit back and da-da-da-da-da. And they was on the entire different side of the club when it happened. They don't know. But they heard enough of what happened that they can make it make sense with everybody else's story. And when you're in the heat of the moment and this happened to you, you don't know who was all around you. So even if you was the person fighting, you're going to be like, well, I guess it could happen. I don't know. I wouldn't pay no attention to people around me. It wouldn't be unless someone specific, like somebody that was standing right next to that person lying, was like, me, you was at the bar when that happened. You went over there. And they was like, girl, shut up. I just really wanted to be a part of some stuff. Is that like a reversal Woody? Not a reversal Woody? I don't know. Synopsis of the week. You put somebody on the stand that admitted on the stand that they was lying, even on the stand, that they told a story that the police gave them to tell. You then put a police officer on the stand that said he gave such story to tell, that he didn't pay attention to nothing that was said or done prior to the story that he told, because he knew that it was all a lie. So he took what other people found. He made it make sense. He didn't verify anything. Once he got the story that he wanted, he went with it, issued his arrest warrants, and went on. You had a gang expert on the stand that admitted on the stand she was no expert. What she say? Y'all said I was an expert. I didn't say I was an expert. So she admitted on the stand she was no expert. And she had no clue of what fit the crime and what didn't. That the gang unit was essentially just putting stuff together to make it make sense. And someone who is going to come in very shortly and be a witness and give their expert opinion on wires and Instagram posts is basically essentially telling everybody else how they should be interpreting said information, with no other professional background other than the fact that she is a police officer and she has decided what means. And she teaches other people how to interpret that with actually no real background to that, besides the fact that she was in the gang unit and she decided that this is what that is. You have a DA investigator that you put on the stand that says Instagram posts have been an invaluable tool to help us decipher what means what, even though you don't know what means what. You know what I'm saying? You don't. Unless you live in the lives that these people live, who are you to determine what they mean by what they're saying? Culturally, you're different. You're not even immersed in the culture to understand what they're saying. You're not. You can't even say the N-word in real life. So how can you put it into context to make it make sense? Sorry. There's that. And then last but not least, you put a 25-year-old rapper on the stand, unprepped and unknowing, to say what you have decided are overt acts, but for him, they're just lyrics to his songs. To describe a grown man in a jean jacket, an ankle-length jean coat, and wasn't even responsible enough to make sure that the evidence that you gave him to testify to was appropriate, i.e. redacted and in the final form that it needed to be to go before the jury. You keep making mistakes but saying, Judge, it's just a mistake. It's not that serious. It's just a mistake. It's not that serious. It's just these people's lives. And we deserve the opportunity and the chance. My daughters are outside the door. I can hear them. We deserve the opportunity and the chance to prove our case, no matter how long it takes, even if we trample all over these people's rights. When does it end? When do we stop? I damn sure wish I could give y'all some makeup videos. But instead, I have to talk about how a DA's office is essentially saying screw these people on an everyday basis and expect them to keep taking it. I don't want these young men to be convicted if they're not guilty. But regardless of what you do, if you keep doing it the way that you're doing it, they're going to get an appeal. And they're going to get another trial regardless, because you have trampled all over their rights. You're trampled all over them as individuals. You've been so lazy and just, it's like your kid it's not like your kid doing the dishes, but it's, have any parent ever yelled at your child for doing their chore, but they didn't do it right to your standard, And the only way we know our kids know how to do their chores is because we didn't taught them how to do it, right? We didn't went over and say, yep, that's good. Nope, that's bad. But they didn't did the dishes, but left all the food in the dishes and then just put them in the dish rack. But they keep saying, Mama, don't get upset at me. I was a little tired, so I didn't do it right. It was just a mistake. Don't get upset. You are bringing these people in to testify. It is your job to make sure they know how to testify. It's not my job. Because if I could tell the story how I want to tell it, we wouldn't even be here. But we're here. So do your part. Do your job so I can do mine. Why do you keep getting to make mistakes and it be okay? But with that same breath, you are telling me that my client, because of the mistakes that they may have made in saying what they felt in a song, or because they argued with someone on Instagram, that in itself in a moment may have been a mistake, but that's not okay. That ain't okay. Last but not least, guys, I did want to show you, we're going to get ready to to simmer down. But I did want to show you infamous Sylvia's um her page. Oh, cause oh my goodness, if it wasn't for her. Um she had a video that she had posted. She did this live, if I can find it. She did it for her members only, and then she did it again. She opened it up for everybody. 2020. That wasn't 2020. Anyways, that was later. But where she like shows you Love's reaction after Winnie Lee got off the stand. If I can find it. I know I watched it yesterday. All this crap would. Where is it? Because I was like, what? I think I watched it on Thursday though. For her people that are subscribed. I need to keep my butt off I think I'm on YouTube way too much. That's why it's like way down here in my videos. And I don't think I saved it either. Because that was the protest. Yep, that was the protest. That wasn't it. My son be on here too watching Blue. Everybody's been reporting on whether or not there's plea deals going on. Personally, I just say take the time and think about how to move forward. What you want to do. Do what's best for your clients, your people. And I hope Miss Sylvia is okay with me showing this. But I feel like it kind of gives you, if I can find it, and I can, it gives you a little bit of insight into if you look at how Hilton's responding versus how Love is responding, and then how like a body is trying to, or a bossy, whatever his name is trying to like kind of smooth it all over. Is this it? I don't know if that's it or not. I watched it. And maybe it. How he was trying to like literally like smooth it all over, like it'll be alright, it's alright. It's interesting because the body language tells you a lot, I think. The body language will tell you a lot. But we'll watch this clip and then we'll simmer down. And we've been on here for almost 3 hours, which I like being online. I don't gonna lie to you. I do. I like being up here, talking and giving you my truth. Oh no, that's when Sylvia just came on to come. Come on, Dad, blast it. Oh, my hand is hurting so bad. Oh, I just had surgery on my hand a few weeks ago, and I wished I could say it was getting better, but it's not. It's like painful still. Did I really click on all this mess? This to the live stream. How long is this? No, is that only 6 minutes? Yes. It's not that one. She does Good morning, happy Thursday. It wasn't Thursday. She did it. It was Wednesday night. But, Is this it? This might be it. Because it was a members only one. And that's where I watched it. Ouch. Ah. Okay. Yes, this is it. Okay. Okay. I found it. I found her. Yeah. I'm telling y'all, Sylvia be getting that behind the scenes art thing. She be getting it. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right, guys. So this. Here we go. We're gonna this. We're gonna add this to the stage. All right. I'm gonna play this. This is Miss Sylvia doing what she do. And I just want you guys to watch. It's not like a lot of sound, but it is some body language in here. And again, this is exclusive. So if you are a member on Miss Sylvia's page, you probably already seen some of this. If you're not, you might not have, but this is her in the background doing what she do, getting that in the courtroom footage. So it kind of like starts off, I'm blind as a bat, them just talking, you know, doing their thing, and then you can start seeing once they kind of, it looks like we were getting there. Where is, okay, here. So we're watching this for Love's body language. You know what I'm saying? That's Miss Knight. She also works with the DA, but I think she gives them kind of like a young people's perspective, especially when it comes to social media. A lot of that is coming for some of the younger DAs. Because you know, some of the older ones ain't really for certain on what's what and what's working and how it's working. But yeah. Did I stop it? No, I didn't mean to stop it. All right, this is Miss Sylvia working. Look at her working. Look, look. Oh, can you see it? Can you see it? Does that look like someone who's like, look how Hilton is. Hilton is like calm, cool, collected. She like, She's like, Like, I feel like this would be the moment. This would be the moment where she's saying, like, look, chill out. I mean, the worst that could happen is they call a mistrial and we get to bring all our witnesses back. The worst could happen is we just get to re-argue our evidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the worst that could happen. Calm down. It'd be all right. It'd be all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just this is me adding my own extra oomph to it, but I feel like she's like a little frustrated, a little taken aback, a little bit like, oh, what the fudge is happening? And I feel like this could be an argument that would be made right now that they could be discussing. Like, worst that could happen is we get our witnesses back in, we get, you know, our evidence back in. Don't be too upset. It'll be all right. And her just like, but this mother, he caused this issue. Like, well, she's not going to give it to him with prejudice. But will we be able to go after Thug again? Because we'll have to start trial by between December and January. We'll be ready. Could we have a jury in 2 months? It's not that a lot of people have been saying they can't try Thug again. It's not that. They can. They absolutely can. It's just a term of court is 2 months, I believe, is what Ashley Merchant said when she discussed how that would work. She said a term of court is like 2 months. So they would have to have a jury sworn in and ready to go within like 2 months. I really hope Sylvia doesn't get upset that I'm like, all her stuff is on there, but I'm shouting her out because without her, we would not have this. We would not have this behind the scenes footage. This is all due to her work being in the courtroom, doing what she does on an everyday basis. And I'm thanking her for it. But this is all her. You got Hilton on the phone. Who you think she calling? It ain't Tyrone, for sure. It is not him. Look at the defendants. Let's go just a little bit. Look at them. You know what I mean? Like, look, they're kind of like expressionless. So to me, it doesn't seem like they're all like chip or happy. Like, yeah, we got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a lot to be discussed. It's a lot to be thought about. It's a lot to be considered. I think that's kind of where they're all at with it. This is kind of like when she calls her mistrial, and then they all stand up. It's kind of like everybody. So she goes down for a little bit, but then I think she pulls it back up here. And okay, so look, all the lawyers is at the desk. They're all talking. They're all there. And this is probably them trying to argue the point about the picture. Like, hey, I said this to you. I'm not going to keep going back and forth with you on this. I said it. You chose not to do it. That's not our fault. And you see, like, Love is listening, but kind of like checked out, like, shit, I said what I said. Look, she's clearly frustrated and annoyed. And they're all kind of like going back and forth, having a discussion regarding it. Like, Exactly. Yeah, I know. Of course, she was calling her boss. Like, hey, this just happened. And the defense actually said they want a mistrial. Like, we didn't expect that. Because normally they just let it go. Normally she says, okay, I'm going to deny your mistrial. And they going about their business. But this time, she said, do you want a mistrial without prejudice? And she said, yeah. And I think she took everybody aback. You see Miss Percival's face. She was like, uh-oh. And the DA was like, they're gonna get one without prejudice? Like, even though they want one with prejudice, but they may be willing to accept one without prejudice? Can we afford to try this again? Can we keep doing this? Can we do this? Oh, it was a lot of things to consider. I think it was a lot to consider. And, you see how they moving. Look, she's saying, it ain't my fault he was reading off the paper, not the screen. Yes, it is. I don't know that's what she's saying, but that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It is your fault that he read that off the paper and not the screen, because you should have marked it off the paper. You should have. You made a mistake. You made a big mistake. Accept it. And yes, the DA at some point in time should have to pay for continuously making mistakes. The judge in New Mexico called it and said, you don't get to keep making mistakes and play with people's lives and I just let it go. Why won't they do the same here? Why won't they do the same here? It can't be no other reason than they have someone saying, you can't do it. Don't do it. I don't care. Don't do it. Look, Max Sharp, like, I gotta get in on this. What's happening? What you said? I just love Max Sharp. I do. I do. I do. I do. He be with it. You can just kind of tell who his friends was in high school. Does that make sense? You can just you can tell who he was kicking it with in school. Like, them was his people. I hope I'm not super loud. I be feeling like I'm super loud sometimes, but yeah, it's just yeah, this is coming from infamous Sylvia. Miss Sylvia, she's in the courtroom every single day. She is allowed to take still pictures and record without sound. So this is what, again, and I'm a member on her channel. She opened this up to the members on Wednesday night, and she did another video. I think she released this video on Thursday for everyone to see. This is her in the courtroom. This is what was going on behind the scenes that we couldn't see. When everything went dark, went black, and we couldn't see nothing, it was on the seal. Yeah, it went black, but when it was on the seal and we couldn't see nothing, this is what was happening during that time. Yes, Miss Sylvia got us the exclusive. I think this is when she goes back to. Yeah, and I think that's it. So the rest of that live is just kind of her just talking and discussing. Well, Miss Sylvia said that she doesn't mind us using her content, but she wants us to give her credit for it. So if you want to go watch that entire stream, please go to Miss Sylvia's channel. It is, what is her? Let me do this. Is this Infamous Sly? I believe this is her Infamous Sly channel. Let me see if I can put the link. Oh, don't have me doing stuff. I have no idea how I'm doing it or what I'm doing. I really don't. I have no idea what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, because I don't know how to do all that yet. But let me see if I can just copy the link to her channel and put it in there. So you can see it. I'll do that. Let me see if I can do that. Here we go. Click on this. Where? I don't know. I love Miss Sylvia. Share. How do I do it? Share. All right. And I'm going to copy. Link copied. All right. So I hope this works. I'm going to post it in the comments. All right. I hope YouTube doesn't take that down. But that's Miss Sylvia's link to her channel, to that video. I'm a subscriber there. I am by no means trying to use her content for my content. I was just wanting to share that with you guys. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't subscribed to her, please go subscribe to her, because she gets the raw in the courtroom footage that you or I don't get, that we can't see, that we're just on Atlanta News First or 11 Alive or Law and Crime feeds. But anytime there's something going on in the courtroom and they go away from us, Miss Sylvia usually know what's going on. She is in the courtroom. She also covered, I think, the R. Kelly trial. She's just that person. She's in court. Like, this is what she does. She's in court. Support her. I think there was an issue with YouTube with her old channel, basically with them trying to not monetize her channel or something like that. So she started a new one. And so yeah, I understand the struggle, so I'm definitely supporting her in all ways that I can. But yeah, she is in the courtroom able to tell us what's happening. I think some of when that was going on, it had something to do with, like, I don't know, but there was a whole issue, Judge Whitaker bringing her up and having her talk on to the court or whatever. The jurors was feeling a type of way because I think they was on her channel and they weren't supposed to be, but they was supposedly, it was friends and families of the jurors. But but she's in the courtroom and she's seeing what's happening behind the scenes, and so she had those footage, and her members, she definitely give exclusives to her members when stuff happens, and then she'll release it later. But in the then and the now, in the moment. So when all that was happening on Wednesday, I was like, a part of me was like, oh my God, what is happening? But another part of me was like, Miss Sylvia gonna know. So of course I was watching her channel all Wednesday night. And then when she did her members only, I was like, okay. Yes. So I became a member. I mean, I was subscribed to her channel before, but yeah, I became a member. I was like, yeah, let me see what's happening. So just so you guys know, she knows. She be knowing. She be in there. Also, Mel, I'm not a lawyer, but was actually in court on Wednesday when this whole thing happened. So she did a live stream with the lead attorney. She also did one with I think it was, I want to say Kayla Bumpus and somebody else, but I'm not 100%. Don't quote me on that. But then she did her own live on her own channel. And then, on Friday, she does her stream with her husband. And so she also talked about that also on her stream, her experience while she was in the courtroom and what happened, what she saw, all the water she went out to go get because she was thirsty, and what she was hearing and seeing. She talks about that too on her channel. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I channel hop. Absolutely. I can't say that I'm a nosy person. It's not that I'm a nosy person, but I am the type of person that I would like to have as much information as I possibly can before I start drawing conclusions on a situation. And it absolutely helps if there's people that have access to that information. So in addition to Thugger Deli, in addition to being on Doug Weinstein's page, in addition to seeing Sharp post the fist bump emojis, one black, one white, or one brown skin, one white skin, Caucasian skin, but not giving us no other message besides that cryptic one, was like sending me reeling. You know what I mean? So it was like, I got to know more. I have to see more. What is happening? So yeah, that was a part of that crawl down a wormhole to find information, because of course, like everybody else that was watching and waiting, we was wanting to know what was going on. I mean, hell, the lead attorney on Thursday had like 14,000 people in his chat, and they were just waiting the whole time to see what was happening. And I think Mel went live on the phone with them just to tell them, like, you know, they opened the doors to told us wasn't nobody going to be here today, and then closed them. At first, they was going to allow, I think, 8 people in the courtroom. And then she said that they just opened the doors and said, yeah, ain't no court today. It's over. And then shut them. So, you know, I don't have that type of population. I don't have those type of viewers and subscribers. I hope to have that one day. But also at the same time, I don't want to just be telling random stuff. Like, I can always have my opinion, and I'll always give you my opinion, but I would at least like to have more of accuracy when giving you that. I don't want to be Fulton County DA's office now. I don't want y'all to be talking about me like we be talking about them. Don't call me Fulton County. I want to be a little bit closer to the truth. Maybe a Woody. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't be Woody either. I'll just be me. I be Nisha, aka Mocha is me. But yeah. So I just wanted to give you guys that little bit of insight. If I wasn't supposed to show Sylvia's channel, I'm so sorry. I'm new to YouTube. I don't know. I did not know. But I also was telling people to go over there because you got the bee's knees. You know what I'm saying? So do that. But I just let them boys go home. I can't think of no other way to put it, but let them boys go home. Can we stop hearing the DA's fictional version of what's then happened? Can we move away from that? I've been hearing so much fiction. I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm just like, Jesus. I'm like, oh my goodness. Let's stop trying to put stuff together and let's redo this. When you got some real actual factual type of situations and you know what's happening and you got A, B, and C, let's come back to the story then. You know? I mean, I just hate, God, I just hate the fact that we're going to let some words in a song be the reason why somebody can go to jail. I know people could rap about whatever they want to. But I mean, come on. Cardi B said in the song she don't cook, she don't clean, she wanted to show us how she got a ring. And then Offset put her on blast and had her on Instagram, sweeping the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Halloween's around the corner. Most people is going to dress up and pretend to be someone that they would probably never be in real life. You know what I mean? Body modifications. If you know, TLC said, you can buy your hair if it won't grow. You can fix your nose if they said so. You know, you can get a BBL if you have no booty. You can get hips if you ain't got that. Like, you can be someone that you're not in real life. In real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, people become versions of themselves throughout life. And there's people who look just like you and I, and they don't see this as beautiful, but they want more lip fillers. I do too. They want more Botox. They want, you know, they 30-inch lace fronts. I love me a lace front too. They want a BBL. They want, you know, acrylics on their toes because their nails won't grow. You know, there's, you know, people that become something more than who they were born as. It's not a crime. It's not a crime to pretend to be something that you're not. That's not a crime. It's not a crime to have affiliations with people. That's not a crime. it's not a crime to clearly adopt things that didn't happen. I mean, Woody adopted so much stuff that, that didn't happen. But that's not, a crime, Woody did it best. This is this is my shout out to all everybody that's getting ready to get on the stand. Woody did it best. Stop trying to come up there and explain to them people what you meant when you said what you said. Just say you don't know. You don't remember. Stop trying to make it make sense on the stand for them because they don't care. They don't. They are looking for any reason to say that you're not telling the truth that they want you to tell. So Woody was talking circles around them people. He was letting them say everything they wanted to say. And he'd be like, I don't call. Didn't you say that the sky was purple and the grass was blue? I said that? I don't recall. Didn't you say that you ate chicken for dinner and had macaroni and cheese on the side? Huh? I don't recall. Well, I might have said that, but I don't recall. Like, stop trying to explain to the people what you said, especially if you don't remember what you said and you trying to think about it and figure it out. Just stop doing that. I don't recall. Because you can't get in trouble for not remembering. Hell, I don't remember what happened yesterday. I don't remember all of what happened yesterday. And I can't get in trouble if I don't say I can't remember what happened yesterday. But if I do get up there and try to explain today what I meant by what I said 3 years ago, I can't get in trouble for that. So stop doing that. If y'all got a friend, tell them stop doing that. Don't do that. Lala Leah, if I pronounce that right, you are absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. And the crazy part is they just let these people sit in jail. They just let them sit in jail until they adopt the story that they want them to tell. There are people disappearing every day. And the funds that we could be using to look into that, we would rather try to put a rapper in jail for rapping a song. I'm not going to lie. I have nieces and nephews, a lot of them. And you know what's crazy? They all know Woody now. They all know Woody now. They tell me about Woody. And I said, but did you learn from Woody? Did you learn anything from Woody? Get your behinds off social media. Get your behinds in school. Everything that you do in life, yes, if you're doing something that's like, trending or something like that, I can make it make sense. But every time you go to a house party, it don't have to be on social media. Every time you in your kitchen or you at home and y'all just chilling with your friends and stuff like that, y'all don't have to be on social media recording everything, saying what you say, bro, what you say, sis, da-da-da-da. All of that does not have to be on social media. Every time you out there doing what you do, you don't have to record it all, because you may be sitting in a car with someone who talking trash about somebody else, and something happens to that person that they was talking trash about. And because you were sitting in a car with somebody who was talking trash about that person, that later may come into a court case where you are now convicted by association because you didn't say when y'all was on your Snapchat to not say that. Like, nah, dude, what you talking about? Because you just let him talk trash. And you was like, you heard what he said. And now you can be facing your life in jail because something happened between them two. And at a different point in time, you were on social media when this dude was talking crazy about that person. Stay off of social media. Stay off of social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've talked to them about the whole clubbing thing. and they experienced themselves this past Christmas in the club having fun, and some mess started up and somebody started fighting, and then the fight turned into a shooting, and there was a shooting in a club, and they're like now hiding in the bathrooms one way in and can't find the second way out, but the person shooting is by the door and they don't know which way to move. I told them that ain't the spot. That ain't the spot. Stop doing clubs. It's not that important to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Maybe go to a bar or something like that. Or maybe just kick it at your house. You know? But you can control the people that come into your space. If you got somebody that you talking to, if you talking to a chick and you know that this girl got a crazy ex and they be doing the most, that ain't the girl for you. Stay away from her, because you don't know what he gonna do, what that ex gonna do behind her. If you dealing with a dude and he just out here reckless in these streets, doing whatever, ain't got no plan, ain't in school, ain't doing nothing positive with himself, he out there talking about he gonna do XYZ, and he just in the streets living that type of life, that's not for you. You don't want to be the female that's caught up with the dude that's caught up in the streets. Cause I'd be quick to say it. She ain't me and I ain't her. I'm, you know, I can't do, I can't do the whole, jail stuff. I tried. It really ain't for me. It really ain't. Like, sorry. I mean, that may be okay for someone. There may be someone that's out there doing it, and I'm not knocking nobody that does. I'm just saying, for me, in my life, it's hard. It was hard. And I was way younger when I did it, but it was hard. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure out how to work, live my life. This is my guy answering all them collect phone calls. Them costs add up, $1,000 phone bills, because they hang up and they call right back and they call right back. And I ain't gonna lie, again, I was younger. So this is, working fast food, Walmart, Walgreens type of places. Your check was what your check was, and as soon as you get your check, it's gone to cover your phone bill, because them calls ain't gonna stop. And then on the weekends, when you need to pick up extra hours, they want you down there for visitation, to come see you, and it's a 2 or 3 hour drive and all of that. It's hard. Again, that's not, it could be the life of someone, and maybe it would be different if this was the person that I had children with, and you know what I'm saying, I felt it was a different type of connection. But that in itself is a hard life. Your children going back and forth, and you want your children to be with their parent and be able to spend time with your parents, so that's a whole nother conversation. But us as older people, older individuals, we've gotten to this age because we went through stuff, we've seen stuff, we've experienced stuff, right? And so with those experiences come knowledge and understanding, so that when we see the younger generation going down that same path, I am the type of aunt, I'm the type of mother. Hold up, wait. I see how you moving. You moving reckless. You moving wrong. This is what can happen. But no matter how many times I pump your brakes for you and I try to redirect you, as an individual, we are still going to make the choices that we choose to make. Why? Because we did it when our parents did it to us. We learn by bumping our heads, right? Like, I have 2 teenagers, I have 2 toddlers. My teenagers kind of already know, and they'll tell my 2 toddlers, hey, stop, you're going to get hurt. Hey, stop, you're going to get hurt. They still keep trying to climb on top of the car, to try and climb on top inside of the playpen to get a toy out, and then try to climb out, because every time that they've done it so far, they haven't fell and hurt themselves. And my teenagers, even my teenagers, know it only takes that one good time to hurt yourself. We are our own predators. You're right. We are sometimes our own worst enemy. Everybody can tell you to stop. Don't do that. Don't go left. Go right instead. If I knew at 15 that if I went right. Right was going to end up me going to college, me having a job making $1 million a year, me having every car that I wanted, being able to vacation as much as I want. And left was me having the boyfriend that I want right now, me enjoying my life that I have right now, me having as much fun as I want to right now, and me just, doing whatever I want to do right now. I would probably still go left, because the right now is what matters. What was on the right, it was the future me. And in the moment, I'm saying, well, this is what I want right now. I can have that later. I can do all of that later. That's not going to matter right now. I want this. And I think that's a lot of what the youth sees. They see that the thug now has all these things. He has cars, he has houses, he has record labels, he has money, he has all of this. And they don't understand that he had to do all the work over the last 10, 15 years to get where he is now. They want the now immediately. And because I basically shart on him 10 years ago and it didn't seem to affect him then, he can't be mad that it's affecting him now. And that's unfair, because it is. Someone walking up to you and saying, hey, did you know so-and-so got killed? Did you know so-and-so got unalived or hurt or da-da-da-da-da? And you being like, oh man, for real? It's a lot different than someone saying, I did that, or we did that. You knowing something happened is a lot different than you taking part of something that happened. Whether he knew Donovan Thomas lost his life or not, whether he knew his friends that he grew up with were in the streets stealing and robbing and all of that, is way different than him saying, well, let me go do it with you. So I'm going to lose my career. I'm going to lose my source of income, touring, going to different countries, seeing things, tasting different kind of food, flying on private jets, because I want to go with you to buy some lean, and you ain't even got the money to get it, so you just gonna take it? I'm gonna get in. I got a Mercedes. I don't know what kind of car you have, but I got a Mercedes at the house. I got me a G-Wagon at the house. But I'm gonna get in your Grand Prix just because I want to watch you shoot at somebody, knowing that I got a tour I got to be on in like 5 days. Make that make sense. I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars singing, rapping my lyrics, telling my story, making words memorable for other people. I'm going to lose that because I want to hop in the back of yo Grand Prix and watch you shoot at somebody that I have a business relationship with because you mad at what? Because they won't let an artist that I'm already making songs with sign to a different label? That's how we making sense of this? Why does it not make more sense that someone else that I know stole from them, banging with their brothers, lying on the hood then said, okay, do away with them. And then that individual, afraid that, what he say, they gonna come get me, so I'm gonna get them first, thought he may have seen Shell out there, hit him up, but it happened to be the other brother. Because Donovan Thomas was out there with another brother. It just happened to be Greedy. They don't know if Shell was out there. There's no proof he was, no proof that he wasn't. But why is it that it couldn't have been one intended target, but it just ended up being another person? Because they're not showing the beef between Thug and Donovan Thomas Jr. They are just putting a scenario together. I think that is the most lost of the stories that they have. They made a little bit more sense with the Lil Wayne beef, but if you look at any of the interviews Wayne has since done about his issues with Young Thug, because they've made music together since, he said that Thug was always respectful to him. I think it had a lot more, it may have had a lot more to do, I do think it may have had a lot more to do what was going on with Wayne and Birdman at the time. Maybe not so much that Thug took on that beef on himself, but maybe a lot more to do with at the time Wayne was tripping with Birdman, and he like, oh, you gonna go try to find another me, because Thug sounded a little bit like Wayne. I ain't gonna lie, when I first heard Lifestyle, I thought it was Wayne singing. I did. It wasn't until I seen the video that I was like, oh, that's a different dude. Okay. So I think that may have been, something else, but yet and still, they try to make it make sense. They don't know if the dude that got convicted of the bus situation wasn't tripping with him in the club. Thug was in an entirely different city, but they made the connection because they all knew each other, even though the dude was engaged to the sister. They don't know if somebody was banging with the sister that was in his entourage and then walked away and the dude was hot about that. There's so many stories. There's so many different things that could have been happening. If you've ever seen some beef pop off into some real serious stuff, it starts off sometimes small, literally, especially in the club. So small as someone bumping somebody and their drink spilling. And then that turns into a watch where you going. That then turns into I'm tripping, and then turns into some, okay, I'm with whatever. Instead of somebody just saying, I'm sorry, my bad, I didn't mean to do that. Like, it is so easy for stuff to go from one space to a totally different one. So I'm just not buying how they put together the Lil Wayne situation. The last 2 weeks has made the most sense. Again, the last 2 weeks has made the most sense. They've put a bunch of people up to talk about stuff and keep going back and forth, but they've kind of flown through. But the Eppinger situation, it wasn't how they explained it, but at least once we've seen it in context, it made sense. You know what I'm saying? Next, you have the Little Rod situation. I don't think that's black and white either. I think there's a whole lot of gray in there, but at least in the order they presented the witnesses, in the order that they presented the evidence, in the order they presented the information, made the most sense. They still got a few more things left to lay out. They got to start bringing up Shannon Stillwell's situation. Even in the situation with the car and the young lady who lost her life that was driving the car, they at least did it in order, in context, to make it make sense. I think now they're going to start getting into the drive-bys at the house that they consider the spot that Shannon Stillwell was always at, and Demekion Garlington, and weaving those two together. And that's going to kind of like carry us through into the next month or two. Should there not be a severance of any kind or the mistrial. I do not hope for a mistrial, just because I think that they've gotten enough evidence out. And with them not being able to get Dennis in, I think that looks highly in their favor. I think judging by how the detectives have already testified, and knowing that Mrs. Viverito about to come in here and have to admit that she's the one training everybody and she's the one doing a whole lot of assumptions, I think they still have a good chance. Again, we don't know what that jury is looking like, but I do think, to a regular person, and these jurors are regular people, I haven't seen how they've connected at least Rico. That's not to say that these people don't have individual situations, but I don't see the furtherance of. I don't see Young Thug saying, yep, go out here and do this and this and this for me. I don't see him saying, yep, go out there and sell them dime bags and bring me back 5 on that 10. I don't see none of that. Like, they not talking about none of that. Was he cool with them and let them come on tour with him and help out on tour? Yeah. He was trying to help his homeboys. I think there also came a point in time where he realized his homeboys weren't helping themselves, so there wasn't much I could do. You know? Do I think people sign plea deals just so they can get out of jail, regardless if it was true, false, or anywhere in between? Yeah. Again, you have to do what you feel like is best for you in the moment. So you don't really care how other people feel or what's going to help other people. You're thinking about yourself. But I don't think that Rico is there. And I respect anybody that first and foremost respects their ability to be able to say what they want when they want how they want. Now, we know in our society, sometimes saying what you want make, get you tapped on the lips, but you still got the right to say it. You know, that's my IE dig at Karen, the Karen situation. But you know what I mean? Like, we have the right to say our truth, and nobody has the right to tell you what your truth is. All of these people that are defendants have also been victims. Was anybody hooting and hollering for Lil Rod when he was missing at 11 years old and nobody knew where he was and couldn't nobody find him? Was anybody jumping in to save Jeffrey when, he was out here playing football and trying to live his best life, but he was literally going without food for days at a time and having to share McDonald's with his homeboys? Was anybody out there rooting for these young men when, they had to drop out of school so they can help take care of their parents' household because, their moms were struggling to do it all on their own? And this is not, racial. This is just across the board. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. I didn't see mothers out there struggling to take care of their babies and do it, and older siblings, because I was one that did it. I started working at 13 years old to help take care of my household when my parents got divorced. And my mom was out there doing it by herself, working 2 jobs to make ends meet for me and my sisters. And I started working to help. And it's a huge responsibility. Did my mom want me doing that? Absolutely not. I told her I just wanted to work. But was I also, putting money back into the house so it would help that she wouldn't have to worry? Yeah. We pick and choose. Like, you pick and choose. You know what I mean? Like, you're not helping these young men when they out here struggling, when they out here being victims and victimized. You know? Did anybody ever sit down with them and say, what have you been through? What's your story? For real, what's your story? Uncut, raw. What is it? What's happened? What's happened to you? Let's find out. But the moment you need to up your conviction rate, the moment you need to close a case, then it's okay to say, yep, you did it. I don't have to investigate fully. I just need one person to say you was there. Because with Little Rod, they got one person to say he was there and some Instagram shit. And they didn't took that little boy's life away. With Thug, they had his connection to some of these people through growing up and playing at the same park as them and giving these dudes opportunities to be on tour with him and find their flow. DK was supposed to be Gunna, but he could not put the substances down. He was staying in the streets. Regardless of if it's about their lifestyle or not, Snoop Dogg has a professional roller. You know what I mean? But Thug having his own supplies, y'all saying, oh, he's distributing. To who? Who's he distributing to? It's saddening. It's depressing. It's angering. And we just want to see justice. Pure and uncut. We just want to see justice. We want to stop seeing the BS. We really do. Guys, I was on at least 2 hours longer than I thought I was going to be. I think my headache has kind of eased up a little bit. Maybe I was just stressing out and I needed to vent. Thank you guys so much to listening to me vent. I'm definitely a venter. You can ask my hubby if you don't believe me. I do want to get him on one of these streams. I think it'd be so interesting for you guys to hear his points of view sometimes. But I appreciate you guys for showing up today and being a part of my family and letting me talk to you and let me get my opinions out with you and share with you some of what I found and what I've seen. I thank you for that. I did put the Cash App in the stream this time if you guys want to help support the channel. I do want to get a dedicated laptop at least to my streams because this one, my storage is almost used up just because this is also my personal and school laptop. But I appreciate you guys. So much. Thank you, Lala Leah, if I'm saying that right, Miss Factual Lie, Miss Felicia, that was here. I appreciate you guys. Not everybody commented, so I can't see all of you. But those of you that commented and just spent time with me today, I thank you for that. I appreciate you. I will be going live again next Saturday at 2 o'clock. We'll see what this YSL week brings. I apologize right now. I'm not going to talk about Dirk just because that's a totally different headspace. And right now I'm in the headspace of injustice. I don't know whether that's justice or injustice. And I haven't looked a lot into that. But I'm on this. You know what I'm saying? I'm on trampling on these men's rights and on their lives and their livelihoods. And what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. And they need us right now. So that's where I'm focusing my attention on. I want to do some little stuff with my daughters, but yeah. But I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Like, share, subscribe. Tune in next Saturday at 2. We will go over the week again. I'll try to have more clips. Sometimes it's just easier to talk through it than to pull up all the clips just because I'm trying to get familiar and I feel clumsy trying to go back and forth sometimes. So that's why I talk through it instead of pull it up every time. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of my family as well. I'll see you next week in the cat chat because, you know, that's where I like to hang out at. You guys have a great Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, guys. See you later.